Clicked it long enough or something. I don't know what the fuck happened. I might have just pressed it and accidentally left lobby. Yeah, I probably did.
What level are we going into? Oh. No Hive Lords.
I'm off that point.
I
would love to.
I do know the Hive Lord does not go into cage, so that's your only safe haven. But it'll still spawn outside of it and just because it's so
That's
tall.
a big boy. What the fuck is
it'll
that?
it'll spit shit at you regardless.
Which one? Oh, really? The fly away? Or is it the panty and stocking? Panty? Okay.
Kind of kill bugs.
Exterminate! Exterminate!
I fucking hate those things.
Alright, how do we build them?
Alright, so we're blowing shit up.
The defense mission?
Tell your
Shamrock Malphite. Oh, whoops. Thought I read it up. Thunder, thunder. Thunder, thunder. Get the thunder. It's the way of life.
Off it. The our teaser.
Oh, Mega
No, 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 no.
Definitely
Thunder.
It didn't actually show it off,
But did you see the Halucha Mega?
I did.
Yeah, it's a way of life.
It is.
Halucha, lucha. Halucha, lucha. It's a way of life.
What Pokemon?
Wasn't this a lovely place?
Bon Voyage.
Have fun, think of us.
Voyage.
Yelking. Yelking.
では、前に出ます。
Guys, how's it going? I was getting on to Ash right there at the end for his shenanigans that he was pulling in League. But how's everybody doing? Oh! I just got today's tweet out. Do me the favor, go give that some love. Let me grab you guys today's sauce. Min Thunder. Failed to get cream held again? Oh no! Sorry to hear that. Okay. Let me make sure that I'm good. I believe I am. Here is today's artwork chat. I hope you guys enjoy. Go give the artist some love. And I have returned to you. As you guys know, I missed yesterday's stream. I hope it was a good one. I heard Albert was at least a little bit more animated. Ugh. I got some bad news about that. Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm probably not going to pull for Wandjina. I just really don't need her as a unit. I have a very, very robust MHXX that will get even more robust here in the coming week. So there's that. Easton tickets got the 5-star C, which is what I wanted for the art. Nice. Wait, so hold on. This is the alt account that you guys are seeing. There we go. I still have to do all of this. What is funny, and just as a reminder, by the way, that is the Disney World script right there. As a reminder, chat, please equip your CEs to your support, because I don't think a lot of people rolled this event. So if you did roll, please do us all that favor. At least put them up on the meta supports. That's fair, but a high key appreciated non-welfare foreigner. That's all good. I'm not making any judgment on Wandjina's capabilities. Just that my account is the epitome of one that does not need her. Right, so 3 copies of Creamhild I wanted. Nice. Sorry, I'm going back and forth, reading chat and reading story. Do you want a 5-star CE on Castoria or Koyan? Both. Why decide? Split your supports. Yes, good Civ. Tried rolling tickets to see if I could fish for cream so I could use my free SR ticket on something else, but failed. Yeah. I mean, in that regard, it's kind of nice that they did give us a banner here right before the 4-star ticket, because I guarantee you Creamhild would be pretty high on a lot of people's lists. So the fact that she got another banner is definitely nice. Habanero or ghost pepper flavor. Uh-oh. Creamy might like Eris. I guess now she is an Avenger. Is YouTube chat cursed with cream? Never mind, there's a traitor, yes. Eris does love spicy food. I do like my spicy food too, but I usually like spicy stuff for the flavor, not necessarily for like how spicy it is. The other advantage to it is basically having how should I put it? Like the like the ability for it to clear out your sinuses and your nostrils and stuff, because that's something like if I'm ever like clogged up or something like that, having the ability to like cleanse them is really nice. As it should be, spicy for spiciness sake is garbage. Some people really like it. It just is what it is. I usually care less about the spiciness and more just about the flavor of it. Cad's never getting on hot ones, Sag? Probably not. Or at least if I did, I'd be a complete wimp, right? I mean, I guess to a degree, like I could go on and I could eat it because you only eat in hot ones, don't you only eat like 3 wings or is it 6? I don't remember. Like I feel like hot ones is already kind of toned down. Freaking Doom is in, man. It's like 7 or 9? Okay, so it's more than I thought. Is it 10? I might have a hard time just eating 10 wings. My appetite has been so down lately. It's hilarious. Because, again, you guys know I've been going on dates. And, like, as I am, like, eating as much as she is. Because I have just like conditioned my body to just not need more food. So it works perfectly for me. And it's definitely helping. I'm at least like losing weight like in the chest area and like the waist. Ironically enough, my actual weight though still seems to be kind of holding steady, and I think it's because I've been like working out and stuff on the side. So 6'7" Nordic genes doesn't need to eat. How does he do it? Technically I have no Nordic genes. I am British, Scottish, French, and basically Czechoslovakian. I have a little bit of East European in me, but otherwise almost all West Europe. Baguette cat, indeed. Oh no. Prophet, thank you for the gift subs. Appreciate it, my man. You didn't have to. Chat, can we get some love for Prophet? And Joven, Edmonton, Fuzzy McFluffins, Alter Noah, Sousen, Yuna, T Naughty, Emperor Brandon, Weird Username, and Mirobest. You guys got a sub. Make sure you guys thank Prophet for it and enjoy your emotes as well. And your ad-free viewing experience as well, I guess. I shouldn't have to say that that's like an advantage, but like Twitch be twitching. Humans, the ultimate mutts, yes. It's like Gil calling people a mongrel when he himself is a mongrel. Blackbeard. It's always funny seeing Santa Altera outside of anything Christmas. Yeah. Certainly mentally, yeah, I agree with that. Basically, I just did the first 3 nodes today, and that was enough to get my AP down, so I had not bothered with the story here. At least the second part of the story. Which I will say this. The Wandjina event is absolutely better designed story-wise than most other events. Like, it had a very quick entry to the event. You got in, you got access to the nodes, and then they gave you more story after that. I don't know why they don't design more events that way. Hey, JC, how's it going? Could they have made Santa Altera the welfare again for those that don't have the rare prisms and buffed her? That would have been a cool idea. I don't hate an idea like that. If your event's not going to have a welfare, bring an old one back. But eventually we get access to all of them anyways. Just give me Creamhild for this. I guess I'll do Castoria. And I'll do it like that. Yeah, we'll just use Jarcher. She'll work fine for this. Hey, what's up, Will? Oh my god. Ow. Oh. Like I said, I've been working out. So, like, right in, like, the part of, like, your pec that attaches to your shoulder, I am so sore right now. So it's like whenever I, like, reach up, like, above this level, like, to, like, stretch or anything, I'm like, oh, immediately. I saw someone on JP today with 2 120 max append MHXs. That's kind of wild. I definitely don't have that many copies. So if you wonder why I have like double X in the front line, it is purely for bonding purposes, and then I rotate her out. This is probably the best NP gain for me, is to do it like this. These enemies are so low health, it will not matter. I could probably just card right over them. Do Altera and BB stop needing rare prisms? That'd be great. I believe so. I'd have to double check that, but I believe they don't. Yeah, we basically have every old welfare available via the Evocation Festival. I think there's only like 2 or 3 welfares that we don't have currently. And that is purely because of how new they are. Which, in that regard, like, collecting old welfares is just a thing of the past now on JP. You really don't have to care. You will eventually get all the ones you want to, or all the ones you desire. And so now you don't really have to, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you don't really have to, like, worry about it. So, the welfares are kind of just a given, and now you can build your teams around it. Now you can build your account around it, and it works a lot better, in my opinion, to do things that way. I'm very happy that the devs finally kind of just pulled the trigger on that compared to maybe their stance before. I think they were afraid that if they gave out welfares that people like wouldn't roll the gacha units. And while I think to a degree there is some case for that, I do think in general your gacha units usually are more desired for various reasons. Either people just really like the design of them, people like the firepower of them. So I think there's just a whole bunch of reasons that people still roll regardless. Hey, what's up, I? How's it going? Take magnesium pills before bed. It helps with muscle pain and will give you a good sleep. Yeah. I thought I was going to sleep really good last night because I did at least have a Guinness. And like by the time I was going to bed, I felt like pretty chill, right? Like just nice and like kind of mellowed out. But I woke up like 3 or 4 times in the middle of the night, basically due to muscle pain. And also just like in general, I've been having kind of like nasty drainage ever since I got sick. So like that sometimes kind of makes me get up and have to like go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. I take magnesium if I wake up and have a cramp in my legs. I usually don't get cramps in my legs anymore. Usually. That was definitely a thing when I was playing sports a lot more actively. I used to get them all the time. Nowadays, not really been a thing. Now, who knows? Maybe if I start getting more active, that'll be a thing. Because earlier today, I kind of took it easy on myself because my upper body feels so shittily and it needs to recover. So today, like before stream, all I did was some jumping jacks, basically to kind of get my heart rate up, burn some calories. And after doing the jumping jacks, my calves hurt so bad. So I think like it's entirely possible I could see myself getting a leg cramp at this point. It's a muscle relaxant, so a lot of athletes use it. Perfect for post-workout. Yeah, I'll have to look into it. I have not like... I'm not like necessarily in the mood to take like supplements or anything like that, but something generic like magnesium or zinc or whatever is like, I don't think like those things are bad to take. It's just like you're not taking some sort of like chemically altered substance or anything. You were just literally taking like a normal straight up element on the periodic table. Chat, is your grail running? Because if so, you might want to go catch it. Basically a cactuar now. I'll go check the fridge. Go for it. Feels like Gouda level of silly. I mean, that's fine. I actually think like this is largely kind of what's been missing from FGO of late. Everything feels like it's a super serious story. This at least like brings back some comedy. It's stupid, but it's great. I love it. What's up, Shadow? Give me Creamhild again. And I will just keep the exact same comp, because why not? How was the date? The date was good. So this was my second date with this girl. And there are basically no issues still. It confirmed that the first date was not a fluke, and that like I really do just vibe with this girl. It's nice. I'm just like, I'm happy about it, and I don't want to like jinx myself a little bit, but like, yeah, no, it's nice to actually meet somebody that I like get along with on multiple levels. We getting butterflies and sparks? I'm not sure I'm capable of that anymore. At least in the sense of like, I still definitely get a little nervous. I still definitely feel things when I look at her, but like, I don't necessarily get like upset stomach or like, oh my God, I can't believe it, right? At least FGO gives you sparks. God damn it, chat. But no, yeah, everything's going pretty good. We hashed out just about everything that I could think of that would be a concern. Like, and I don't think there's going to be anything. Only thing that I could see that would maybe be a concern is her job, because sometimes she has to travel for it. Though, according to her, it is not very often. But sometimes that can be a week to 3 weeks. So I was like, I don't know, 3 weeks is a long time. Like, that is not just you traveling for business at that point. That's you being like, you're working from another location for an entire month. Yeah. So it's like, that's kind of rough. But according to her, it's not like a common thing. So that's just going to be something like I'm going to have to talk with her about. We're going to have to like work on that. She doesn't live terribly close to me either. That's a thing. But like, I don't mind. It like, basically, especially honestly with like the new car as well, like it drives so smooth, and I'm not worried about it like breaking down on the side of the road like I maybe would have been with my 20-year-old car. So like all of that, it's not a big deal to me. I don't mind having to drive to go see her. But yeah, I don't think there's gonna be an issue beyond that. Like, have the dogs been in the car? No, and that's why it's immaculate. It still has that new car smell instead of dog smell. It's good that you're communicating. Yeah, honestly, that's... I said this before, I'll say it again. This sounds terrifying to some of the people, at least in VIP, but I keep describing her as gender bent me. Because we seriously are on like the same wavelength like 90% of the time. It's actually kind of insane. I've never had that. I'm dead serious when I say this, chat. Out of all people I have ever known in my life, including my family, including my brother, including my close friends, I have never had somebody that synced up like this well with me. Ever. It has never happened. And it's like, it's really weird. And it's the thing I got out of her on the date was she also feels the exact same way. And she is also weirded out by it. Like, we're like, this is odd, isn't it? It's like, yeah. It's really kind of just like absurd in that regard. But it's good. I don't mind it. I think it's great. I'm so used to not like having things in common with the girls that I've dated. And honestly, I don't think I'd trade it for the world. I think it's so nice. I always hear like, oh, opposites attract. And well, I can see how that is the case. I feel like having somebody else that you get along really well with, you share a lot in common with them, and you think the same about a lot of things, it smooths things over so much, I feel like. Lady Roth? Oh, God. Yeah, So, she wanted to know a little bit more about the streaming. I have not told her the channel or anything like that. And basically, she was just curious as to, like, why I do it, you know, like, what's my motivations and, like, things like that, because she also has streamer friends. So, like, you know, I kind of talked with her about it. She seems really okay with it and, like, pretty chill. I think her only concern for me was that, like, oh, well, I have plenty of nerdy and gamer friends, and several of them are also married as well. And she says, like, it's not necessarily a red flag, but she called it, I guess, a beige flag, which I had never heard this term before. But she said, like, unfortunately, in a lot of those relationships, the guy just plays video games and does not pay any attention to his wife. And I'm like, yeah, you're not going to have that problem with me. I'm like, and I'll let you know if I'm just going to be like vegging out. Like, that'll be a thing. But like, yeah, it's like, even as somebody that plays a lot of video games, even before I met her and just being completely degenerate, I would never just sit here and play video games all day. It's very rare that I ever did that. And usually I'd still like get up and do things. I would like not spend the entire day playing a video game. That is something I used to do back in like college and high school. But now as an adult, like, you gotta adult. So I just don't do that. And honestly, one of the best things for that, chat, is the dogs. Like, the dogs force me to take care of somebody else. I can't just lose myself in a video game entirely and forget about everything. So, yeah, on one hand, it sucks being an adult. On another hand, it's good for you. It's actually nice because it makes you balance your life. So, got to get out and walk them. I need to, thank you for reminding me, because I need to order a new harness for Sasha, at least. Because hers, like, she has a harness, and we're kind of coming into the holiday season, which is usually where, like, I do have to, like, pack them up in their crate and, like, ship them down to my sister. When I say ship, I drive them, right? Down to, like, my sisters and stuff for the holidays. So, like, usually I need them to have like harnesses and leashes that work and stuff. So that's something that I'm going to have to do with them. Oh, the dog cam not work? There you go. Sorry about that. It was not up on my end. Actually I need to vacuum as well. But basically in their case, they are extremely like destructive. So, like, Sasha chewed through her harness. Like, she has a harness that, like, it's kind of like almost like a backpack, right? Like, it literally just goes over the top of her and then it buckles in the middle and everything. She chewed through the, like, right strap of it. Just right through it. Just buzzsawed it. So, it is what it is. Ah, yes, human content. Yeah, pretty much. It's also a good way to meet your neighbors. I'm not a huge fan of my neighbors. So, my neighbor to the right of me is really chill. He's married with his wife, and it's just them. They don't have any kids. And they're like, they're fine. I have no issue with them. My neighbor to the left of me, I really don't ever talk to them. But they're a, like, Mexican family, I think. They seem fine. But my neighbors across the street, I hate all of them. They're terrible. Like, the one that's, like, directly across from me, they have this. So, like, chat, you know how you have, like, a garage door, right? And, like, it'll have, like, little markings on it, like little squares and stuff. And it'll be painted, yada, 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 on down, right? Like, I'm not gonna, well, I guess I will draw them all. Here we go. Okay. So, instead of that, they got themselves, like, inside. So, like, if it, now, imagine we're looking at the garage door from the side, okay? So, this is the garage door. Behind the garage door, which itself is on its own, like, track that it pulls up, right? They have a second track that basically ends up, like, right here. And they have a second, like, screen that rolls down that is the exact same color as their garage door. Why, you might ask? Because they sit out in their garage all day. And they just watch. And that, I'm sorry, that is fucking weird. That is really fucking weird. I don't know how else to describe it. Imagine your every move being watched. Like, it'd be one thing if they were just outside all the time. I wouldn't care. But it's like the fact that they're hiding, because what they do is they roll their garage door up and then they just have the screen instead, and they can see out and you can't see in. So yeah, it is just like, it's a creepy thing. Also, the fuck spends all of their time outside in their garage in Florida? It is hot as balls. Don't do that. Like, it's just weird to me. Horror movie shit, yeah. Old people? They're technically not old. It's a family with kids. And the kids are fairly young. So they're probably like maybe a couple of years older than me. Probably like mid 40s. Sorry, it's a little bit more than a couple of years older than me, but you know. Looking for HOA infringements. As far as I know, they're not involved with the HOA. Isn't that why you're supposed to have a pool in Florida so you can cool off occasionally? Yeah, to a degree. Yeah, that doesn't sound good. I'm glad I don't have any sort of domestic violence going on. But no, I mean, from there's a couple like nice people in the neighborhood that I've met. But there are also other people that are like, oh yeah, they are involved with the HOA. And it's like, I don't like those people. I don't like interacting with them. The neighbor behind me is a total asswipe. He is like an old dude that's like just super ornery about everything. And I'm just like, dude, chill the fuck out. So it's like meeting my neighbors. I've already met them. I don't care to meet them more. Your neighbors are weird, Cat. Like I said, the ones to the left and right of me are fine. I have no issue. They are perfectly chill. Which is an improvement because before the Mexican family lived next to me, there was an old Hispanic dude, and that dude was creepy. That dude was like, oh, hey, I'm done with like stream, or like I've been up late gaming. Let me go let the dogs out. It's 3 a.m. and I'm like out there with the dogs, like, come on, go to the bathroom so I can go to bed, right? And that motherfucker is standing out on his back porch watching me in the dark. He doesn't have his lights on. He's just staring creepily over the fence. That guy was also weird. So it's like, I don't know what it is with these neighbors, but like, they just need to fuck off. Like, sounds creepy. It was. I was like, all right, cool. I'm not dealing with this guy anymore. He was also the guy that like, so like he would have robust Christmas decorations. Fine. I don't really care. I like Christmas. So chat, I live in a gated community. It has an automatic gate. There's no like security guard or anything like that. Like, I don't want to make it sound like it's like some super posh community or anything like that, right? But it's not like easy access. It's not open to the public. But this guy's like, I'm going to play Christmas music. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I don't really care. Except when he doesn't shut it off at like a normal conceivable time. Like, if you were to shut it off at like, I don't know, anywhere from like 10 to 11 o'clock, I wouldn't care. I think that's fine. Right? No. This guy would run it literally through the entire night, including like, I would wake up at 3 a.m. and hear, and I'm like, oh my God, shut it the fuck off. Gotta embrace the Xmas spirit. Yeah, the problem is like our houses are not like so far apart that like I can't hear that. Like my bedroom is on that side of the house. So it's like him playing that at all hours and I'm like, dude. Plus, it wasn't even quiet. It wasn't like he had it at a reasonable level. This dude was blaring it. Okay? And it was so funny because actually when the neighbors on the other side of me moved in, they were talking to me. I met them like right as they were moving in and they're like, is that you that's playing the Christmas music? And I'm like, no. I'm like, it's that guy. And they're like, oh my God, we were taking a walk around the neighborhood and we got to the other end of the neighborhood and we could still hear it clear as day. And I'm like, yeah, imagine how I feel. So it's like when that dude moved out, I was like, oh, thank God. Fuck that guy. Holy shit. Like, he was just the biggest pain in the ass. Do you not have an HOA? Have they not gotten onto him? So he was involved in the HOA, but they got so many complaints, he did have to actually like turn it down. That's how bad it got. Like, everyone in the community was like, I don't even know why he's doing it. Like, people can't come see his Christmas lights anyways because it's a gated community. So it's like, yeah, you're not wrong. Are you the Christmas guy? Pretty much. Wait, so what am I doing here? Okay, so this is the 50 node. What was this? It's gold with bronze. Yes, that just is my gold node. So this is whoops. I assume this is a joint node. It's just bronze? Okay. That's fine. I don't have any C's, so it doesn't matter. So this actually works out swimmingly. I assume I can probably still loop. I'm going to throw Arthur back in here for bonding purposes. Should have fought him off with Padour on full blast. No, like, I'm not someone that would, like, go damage someone else's property lightly. So, like, the fact that I was sitting there and I was thinking about, like, all right, leave it on at 3 a.m. again. See what happens. I'll go out there with a fucking sledgehammer and I will kill the shit out of that speaker and we'll see how much you play it. I actively considered it and I was just like, no, it's not worth it. I'm not going to do it. I was like, I was right on the edge, right on the cusp, and then the HOA got to the guy, and I was like, thank God. They need the free 3-star C. I do. That's the only thing I have. It's literally just sitting on my back line. The good news is, just means I have more party space for bonding and actual damage Cs. So. Its bronze focus is just a little silver. Yeah, that's usually how it is. It's just sometimes the next node is like all 3 mats. And then sometimes it just is like, okay, now it's just bronze again. It just depends on how they design it. Let the Padoru begin. Chat, we are not in Padoru season. No. That's not a thing yet. Not until after Thanksgiving, chat. Soon, Cad, soon. Yes, soon. Thanksgiving. 2+ months from now, okay? You got like 2.5 months. Then it's Padoru season. I already have Christmas stuff. I've already seen Christmas stuff in the supermarket. So technically September is still summer, right? And it was funny because where I took her to an Irish pub. I know you're thinking it's probably like some hole in the wall. No, it's just a really, really like nice fancy one, right? So I took her to an Irish pub and immediately when we go in there, she's like, oh, look, they have fall decorations up. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what do you mean? Why are there already fall decorations up? It's hot as balls still. So it just made me fucking chuckle. Because I did ask her, I was like, okay, in your opinion, when do you start decorating for Christmas? And she's like, oh, after Thanksgiving. I was like, I'm like, it's another thing that we agree on. I was like, yeah, because I got people in my neighborhood. They decorate in freaking October for Christmas. And I'm like, no. No, September's fall. Technically, it's still summer right now. Technically. crazy people. Listen, there are some people that do. It just is what it is. I just like, if someone else wants to decorate for Christmas, go for it. I just think they're a psychopath. That's all. I think it's the 21st of September that summer ends. Yeah. Which, dear God, please let it end. I cannot wait for it to end. Do I have enough for... No, not yet. Gotta have 200. I wasn't sure if it was a 100 or 200. Usually the Cs cost 100 only on a light version, which is the rerun event. But we don't get those anymore, so it is what it is. Do I want to risk refreshing? That might be better. Try one more. Damn it. See, chat? That's why I said put your C's up. To be fair, I am filtering by MLB. But, like, it is what it is. I'm a Filipino Canadian, and back in the Philippines, the moment September hits, all malls start playing Christmas songs. Oh, God. Those poor retail employees. I cannot imagine having to listen to that from September all the way to Christmas. That sounds awful. I think that would drive me batty, dude. It's already bad enough just from Thanksgiving to Christmas if you're a retail employee. I cannot imagine it for 4 months of every year. That would be so bad. Maybe going to mix might help. It might, but I largely want Castoria. That's what I was fishing for. Yeah, whatever. Then it is. I'll see if I can make it work. All the way to January because you celebrate 30 Kings too. Yeah, I was going to say, technically, chat, this is the reason why. Okay, so some people insist that it's October through December is Christmas. Me? I'm a good Catholic boy. So, literally, it is Thanksgiving. Which is the third? Is it the third or the fourth? It's the third, right? The third Thursday of November is Thanksgiving. So it's usually somewhere around the 20th, we'll say. Okay. So from there until usually about I didn't spell January right, but usually about January 15th is usually how long you celebrate Christmas. So that way you still get a full month and a half, but it doesn't overstay its welcome, and it doesn't immediately come down right after the holiday ends. So this is why usually if I do Christmas stuff for stream, I leave it up through January. Because it feels oh, okay, but it's still that time of year. Oh no, what did I just plugged suited for the wrong unit. Alright, we're carding this wave. This is the only way this is going to work well for me. That woman unfreezes in September in the Philippines is horrifying. Well, they're closer to the equator, so it is hotter, right? Here, Xmas is only $12.25. Yeah, But like we celebrate it usually for a little bit longer, at least into January. Oh God, please. Let's see. That one has the attack up and the defense down. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep mighty chaining this. Why not? Recharge. You didn't want Waver without his buff anyways? Yeah, it's... I don't know what the heck I was doing there. I probably could have gotten that done with even less, but I couldn't guarantee a crit there. Every day is Padaru season. Look, if you like Nero, that's one thing. But every day being Padaru season just sounds like torture. Xmas is from December 1st to around January 15th. Yeah, that's pretty similar, at least with the States. It's just like I said, like we usually start post Thanksgiving, but that's it. Like usually a lot of people, at least this was the traditional way it was done. There are people now, like I said, that start like, oh, Halloween happened. Okay, cool. Time to get in the spirit. It's Christmas time now. But usually the traditional way it was like you celebrated Thanksgiving somewhere late November. After that, you went out and you got yourself a tree. Okay? Either you went out back and you chopped it yourself, or you went like shopping for one and you got one for yourself. And then you set the tree up, and then from there on, it's basically Christmas time. I've been in a couple of countries where Christmas is a week only thing. Yeah, I mean, like, it's more like, I guess, like here in the States, it's like, oh, it's the holiday season. So, like, you'll see municipalities, like cities, actually decorating for it and stuff too. As opposed to like, oh, it just being like an individual thing. Which I think is, honestly, it's one of the nice things about... Oh, wait, hold on. We're not on the alt account. I think my brain was like, okay, this is like the alt account because we had the card. I feel the worst for IHOP employees. They have the most insane store brand Christmas music playing for like 4 months. Oh, that sounds awful. I know, like... So Trubs works retail, and he absolutely hates Christmas music because of that. I feel like anybody that does retail probably hates it because that's all they hear constantly for like hours and hours and hours and hours and hours while they're at work. If I had to listen to the same like 40, 50 songs over and over and over again, I would also probably come to hate it eventually. Just shy. However, I can at least get rid of that guy first. And I got not a single freaking Jarcher card. Sweet. Xmas for me is basically December. Yeah. And that's like, I feel like that's the case for a lot of people. But if you don't put anything away, it's forever powder. That is true. I have been like reamed out by my mother for leaving my Christmas decorations out for a little too long. Though to be fair, I'm pretty pedestrian with Christmas decorations. I have a wreath for the front door. I have a like digital light thing that I plant in my front yard. So I don't even hang Christmas lights because fuck that. So like I literally just put like the digital light thing out, and then I have a small like Christmas tree. Like you guys have seen it on stream. That's it. That's all I do. But I'm also not like, I don't know, I'm a guy. I don't really like decorate too much. So it's like that's me trying not to be bah humbug. Okay. I tell people every winter I'm dreaming of a white Christmas is a wonderful classic, but if I have to hear it 3 to 5 times within an hour, no jury would convict me. Yeah, I don't think they would. No sense doing an NP. Let's just card. My father will get a tree a few days before Christmas, and then we'll have it up for 2 to 3 weeks. Other Christmas stuff my parents will put up earlier. Interesting. Usually I hear people have a tree before that point, but that is interesting to hear that, like, you basically delay it, then you keep it longer after the fact. Starts decorating the house early November and removes it late January. Your mother's a psychopath. No, I'm just kidding. Like, honestly, whatever works for you, right? I understand it's like people are just trying to get in the spirit, so I don't think there's anything wrong with it in that regard. To me, though, I think it's like, it's basically the quote from the Bible where it's like, to everything a season, and that is what I believe, is that, like, no, it's like, this is like, oh, it's October, it's Halloween time, it's November, this is like your fall, autumn harvest, it's Thanksgiving time, it's December, it's Christmas time. So I just, like, believe that everything needs to have its own time. But beyond that, it is what it is. I mean, like, I know there's the meme of, like, was it like the 3 cars and the one car's like pulling over, not staying in its lane, it's like cutting all of the other ones off, and it's like the holidays, and of course, like, I've seen the FGO version of this where it's literally like Umu cutting everyone off because it's like, oh, it's Patoru season. Because it's just, I guess, like, people are like, oh, it's Christmas, Christmas is the best holiday, so they just, like, everybody just wants to celebrate it for as long as possible. There you go, chat. I did it right. Blue, thank you for the sub. Thank you for the 3 years. Chat, can we get some love for Blue? Thank you for the 3 years of support. Merry early Christmas. No! But thank you, Blue. I appreciate it. Halloween is just pre-Christmas. Well, I think Halloween's become really popular with people because it's basically, like, I think on, like, the most base instinct level, it's just like, it's kind of like going to, like, a masquerade ball. It's like, or like going to a convention and cosplaying. It's just, it's a cool, like, dress up holiday where you just get to be whatever the hell you want. And so people have fun with that. Which I've been put on notice. There will probably be a Halloween party in my future. So, chat, we got to come up with an idea. Ugh. Halloween is just an acceptable excuse to cosplay, pretty much. CZ, thank you for the 56. Appreciate it. Hear me out. Go as Brave Liz. No. No, I don't need to get arrested. Be box gun. Be Johnny Bravo. I'd have to listen to Johnny Bravo again. I don't think I can do the voice anymore. From outside perspective, Thanksgiving looks just like Christmas light. To a degree, it kind of is. Usually, Thanksgiving is a time period where your family gets together, you cook a nice big meal, and everybody just eats and kind of reminisces. And that's it. Like, there's really not more to it. Thanksgiving also is synonymous with, like, okay, this is now, like, gonna be the start of Christmas, because it happens, like, for us here in the States, the Friday that is right after that is Black Friday. The Monday after that is Cyber Monday. So, like, that whole weekend is when, like, everybody's off to the races and everybody does all their Christmas shopping. So, like, it is synonymous with all of that. And usually, like, families will do it together to some degree. So there is, like, I don't know. I'm not gonna say there's not like a holiday there. There is. It's just like it's a whole lot of like things jumbled together. Thanksgiving used to be full of drama for me, not anymore. Thank God. God, yeah, that sucks. I grew up the whole time like loving my family, and I hate when there's family drama now that I'm older. Sometimes I'm low key the cause of it, but like the reason I'm low key the cause of it is because like I don't want to basically like bend over for like my sister and my brother are scheming something. And it's like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. You guys can go fuck yourselves. But like, I don't know. I love my family and I love spending time with them. So it's just one of those things where it's like sometimes you have drama that is out of your control. Sometimes it's like almost like somebody just dropped a bomb on like the family get together, and it's just there's not anything you can do about it. Christmas used to be we watch the Lions lose because it's Christmas, but now they are good. I mean, that's kind of nice though, right? Like all seriousness, maybe you're not a Lions fan, but like I actually used to be like, because it was like it's such a crap game. Now it's like, oh, they're better. Maybe we'll get a good game instead. Hold on, chat. I wasn't sure I closed my text messages. You mean Thanksgiving? Yeah. Oh, did I say Christmas? Sorry. Thank God for being Asian and Thanksgiving is an excuse to eat out. You eat out on Thanksgiving? You know, I never really thought about it, but are the restaurants even open? I would assume some restaurants are, but I would also assume a lot of them aren't. They replaced Vega with the Dread Pirate Roberts from Princess Bride. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. What I was referencing is in gaming news that I posted that there's I guess they did like the first poster of the live action. Hold on, what the heck is that? The first poster of the live action like Street Fighter remake. So like some of the actors I recognize, others it's kind of hard to tell because they're like pixelated and grainy, right? So it is what it is. Did you know that all of my favorite Wendy's combos are all trios? I recognize the wrestlers. This was the guy that was in what was it, Warrior or whatever? The like Chinese San Francisco beat 'em up show. That's 50 Cent, I believe, is Balrog. That's Jason Momoa. This guy, I swear, this dude is like everywhere in every show I've been watching lately, and it's kind of hilarious. He was in Murderbot. There was another thing he was in. What else was he in? Was it Superman? I don't know. I do not recognize who I assume to be Cammy and Chun-Li. I'm going to say the Cammy actress kind of looks the part, just from the braids, but... The face of disappointment, yes. But yeah, it is what it is. So, chat, tomorrow we have a live stream for JP. And if you guys haven't been paying attention, there's something off about the upcoming event. I was talking with Avalon about this. Avalon's the one that tipped me off. But basically, the event is not limited. We already knew the event didn't have free quests. So we're probably, and like I had been theorizing, you know, like one of the ways that they could do it would be like a raid event. So that may be what we're looking at. We may be looking at it like a Tunguska style event where it's story into raids. And because it is story, it is integral. Therefore, they will just immediately main interlude it. And it would make sense because it will lead into the Grand Rider duel. So I could see it being a thing. Yeah. Live stream is in 9 hours, by the way. Yep. Drubs will be covering it. Make sure you guys check him out if you guys haven't already. He always live streams and covers all of it. So this may be one you want to pay attention to if you guys play on JP, because again, I don't know how the mechanics are going to work for this. We don't even know if there's like a shop or anything like that. We know there's bonus units, but beyond that, I don't know. Okay, so one of the things I definitely need to do is, I guess I can do Grand Duel here, because like I need to spin down my my storm pods anyways. Okay. I'm almost sure it's a certain unit. Yeah, I mean, all money is on it being Noah as the Grand Rider. If it's not, that'll definitely be a nice curveball. But beyond that, I don't know that anyone really has too much of a guess. That's enough. I can kill with that. I need to get Summer Lips Bonsies. She's my grand now. Nice. A Noah servant opens up the possibility for a Jesus servant, but I'm not sure if it's a good idea. I don't think they'll ever do anything like Jesus. They've kind of commented before that like big religious figures are like, it's not necessarily like a good idea, but like they haven't said like no, just that it's like, yeah, you obviously have to like tread lightly around things like that. And they're right. Like, I think Noah is at least somebody where it's like he's far enough removed that it's like, okay, it is what it is. Unless you just completely bastardize the portrayal, you'll be fine. Martha's been in the game since the beginning. Oh yeah, I mean, we have Joan of Arc, right? Like, so we definitely have religious characters. They're talking like prominent religious figures. Like literally the, I guess you could say like the top end of current religions, right? And yeah, I get why that would be a concern. I get why you would not necessarily want to just go all gung-ho with that. Isn't Ganesha a big religious figure though? That I don't know. We do have a pope, sort of. Yes, but the pope that we have is a fictitious character that never actually existed. So it's like there's a difference there. That's more of a like legend than an actual one. I mean, there is Buddha in the game? No, there's not. Bonk. Just not an FGO. Well, in the game, FGO. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Buddha is a thing. And yeah, I mean, we do have Hindu. I don't know why. It may just be like Hindu is maybe the exception of active religions where they just, I don't know, maybe they think they can get away with it. Moses was in Fate prototype fragments of Sky Silver. Yeah. I want Majapahit as a unit. Mapajahit? Well, I don't know if the star soaking will go well here. Let's turn it on so I have an idea. This could go south in a hurry. 70%? I'll risk it. Let's try it. I don't think I technically even need the quick crit. I think Christianity is just too divisive to implement properly. I wouldn't say that. I'd just say that, like, in general, I think there would naturally be backlash to any portrayal of Jesus, Muhammad, and it may just be those two, honestly. Like, I guess if you didn't do Buddha right, but like, I feel like Buddha has been portrayed in other things. Hunting a mosquito for 45 minutes now, make it stop. It's 3 a.m. for God's sake. No, you're not allowed to go to bed yet. They don't want to deal with the backlash. Yeah, and I don't blame them, right? Like, I'm not gonna say that it's like, oh, it's divisive. It's just like, would there probably be some sort of backlash? Yes. Yes, there probably would be. Let's go with the stuff there. I need to free up some inventory on JP. All right, chat. Daily story roll. Well, daily FP roll. So there's technically a second FP banner right now, by the way, chat. There is the normal story one, and then there's the Habitrot one. Because I guess they technically gave a, like, rate up one to every other character. And since this is the Writer Grand one, I guess they figured, like, hey, why not? He bit me 13 times. That's wild. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's clear that there's not, like, a ban on Christianity, right? Like, we have several Christian characters. But yes, I think they would naturally stay away from certain things. When is the 3,000 days celebration? Should be September 10th. That should be basically next week for us. Do they give one for Saber Lily? I believe so, yes. Oh, sorry, chat. Just stretching. It is not feeling okay. When we get the daily free story roll in an A, since the anniversary is earlier than JP, that means we roll more times when it comes to NNA. Probably. We will probably get like maybe about 3 weeks-ish extra that JP didn't get. But honestly, I'm not going to say that's that big of a deal. Like it definitely could result in stuff, but you guys have seen how the story rolls are. Sometimes you get something, sometimes you get nothing, and it just is what it is. You don't really have any control over it. So don't get me wrong. I'll take it. It's free. So it is what it is. Give me MP3 Creamhild having me change my SR ticket decision again. Nice. From the YOLO solo I got Roland yesterday. Nice. But the 4,000 days and 11th Annie should overlap. That doesn't sound right. Because, like, well, when did 3,000 days happen on JP? It was like October, wasn't it? Yeah, so I don't think it would. Megami Tensei, for all its love of the Christian God being the cause of the series' problems, almost never mentions Jesus. Well, and like, you know, for instance, Persona 3 has several other things. And look, chat, I'm not going to sit there and I'm not going to say they can't do it, right? However, also one of the reasons I don't really play the games. Like, it does not make me want to play a game if it's basically denigrating my religion. And it is what it is. Like, I guess it's to the same extent where it's like, if you felt like you were being targeted as like social commentary of some sort by the game, or like the themes of the game were just naturally derogatory towards you in some way, you probably also wouldn't want to play a game that did that. Like, it just is what it is. Is a buddy comedy with Jesus and Buddha being roommates in an apartment. It's great and heartfelt. That sounds great. But yeah, it like, I don't know. I can understand the desire to stay away from those things because naturally it just has negative repercussions, and what do you do otherwise, right? Like, the alternative is simply just not. Ventus is playing Silk Song, I see. Yeah, apparently Silk Song was giving Steam like major issues today. Oh, by the way, chat. Baldur's Gate 3 is currently 25% off. But yeah, Silk Song apparently like crashed the Steam page and was like having major issues. So it crashed like every platform. Yeah. Because you basically couldn't pre-order it. So it was just a thing. And it's like, oh, suddenly everybody can buy it. And it was like everyone was trying to buy it. Everyone was trying to play it simultaneously. So it just absolutely crapped on like all of their servers. It look like that'll overlap. It'd be close. Closer than I thought it would be, but still, yeah. I do wonder, would Cain be able to count as an evil of humanity? Maybe? Depending on like how you portrayed him. That could definitely be a thing. I'm just thinking because there's stuff I gotta do, I feel like, but it be what it be. So on the alt account chat, I have already progressed through the story. The alt account, and this is kind of hilarious because due to the main account having storm pods, the main account is less efficient in events compared to the alt account that does not care about storm pods. The alt account just goes and does, and it's perfectly fine due to it. Hey, Gingerbread, let's go. Yeah. However, unfortunately, the downside is actually finding people that have proper, like, craft essences equipped. This would be a time that I could use an Arts AoE looper. That being said, this composition actually just works. So I don't see any downside to running it. Cain, Abel, dual servant, and Seth as a welfare. Yeah, that would just be kind of odd. But, like, I could see them touching Cain or Abel, because to me, what it feels like a lot of FGO tries to deal with, and Fate in general, is like, what it perceives to be legends, myths, historical tales, things like that. So, a lot of Fate is, like, literary based, if that makes sense. So, like, biblical figures make a whole lot of sense for them to touch. But how much they do, I think, is definitely a question and definitely remains to be seen. Wait, did I do a Rash's NP interlude on this count? If it works, it works. Exactly. In the immortal words of Todd Howard, it just works. I never knew Seth Rogen was the legendary servant. Exactly. This should be enough. Basically, I have 110% charge or close to it here. Ow. But is anybody actually playing Silk Song at the moment? I'm just curious how it is for people. Interesting. She doesn't have enough firepower to actually kill that thing. That means this comp won't work infinitely. But yeah, I think on the side chat, I'm going to continue to do story even during this event, because this account wants as much, like, quartz as it possibly can in preparation for Castoria. I have been. It's been great. Nice. Not really in a hurry to play it. I mean, I guess I don't blame you. So it's been like a 7-year wait, right? Need to finish Hollow Knight first. Like they're not directly connected, but still. Yeah, I've never played Hollow Knight, mostly because like, while I don't mind necessarily a Metroidvania, Hollow Knight's aesthetic is what like I just don't really care for. Doesn't mean it's a bad game. I'm sure it's fantastic. And basically from everything I ever hear from people, they always recommend it, and it is fantastic. So to me, it's like, just may not be my cup of tea type deal. I never played the first one, but I'm tempted now. Yeah, it's funny because Ash was saying he was going to reinstall it. Oh, look at this. 159. We can send them a request. Chat, I almost have 30 friends on this account. Do I have enough items for Castoria? Not for pity yet. Let me double check here. Give me bells. This one's a little spicier. It might be homunculus babies that I need. Or it might be mystic gunpowder. I actually probably have plenty of evocation leaves. Oh yeah, I got my token copy of Bedivere. I never pulled them out. You can see, like, this account does just kind of have good rewards. Ooh. I have 5 rare prisms. That may be interesting on its own. It's been a hot second since I've seen Bedivere's first ascension. His armor, like his chest plate, looks so nondescript. Sweet crystals? That would only allow me to buy 1 copy of Sweet Crystal. There we go. Pulled everything out. Let's go to the MP shop as well. I really want to save up the 5,000 mana prisms. Because I'd like to get like Lunchtime or Mona Lisa or something. But then there's also like Golden Sumo and shit. Actually, this Wandjina event is probably going to be really nice for this account because I'll finally have a C that's like worth actually leveling. Because quite literally... Backing out here real fast. This C, How to Travel the Stars. It's all attack scaling, 50% charged. It's 20% special damage against curse afflicted enemies. Now, that might not be the best, but just the 50% starting charge into all attack scaling is worth for a new account that does not have a better CE. So that will give me at least some additional firepower. Plus, you can get cursed command codes and things like that, so has its value there as well. So let me take a look at the shop overall. We crystallized lores, evocation leaves. Ooh, meteor shards. Oh my god! It has seeds. Oh, my account needs those seeds so badly. This is literally, like I said, this is the current material that I farm when off stream. Because basically, both pretenders, both pretenders at rank 1 of their skills both use seeds. They are asshole-ish like that. I hate seeds so badly. They are never in any of the high-end nodes and events ever. And the drop rate for them is so low, yeah. I need seeds, yes. Oh, it's finding myself running out of them on both accounts. The bleached earth node can't get here soon enough. You're not wrong. And that will help out to a degree. Because I remember that helped my JP account somewhat. Where was I? So what do I want to buy then? Because I got 5... No, now I have 6 rare prisms. Whatever. Oh, hold on. Basically, if I've qualified for it, I'm just going to redeem it. Because it's free anyways. Girl, I was made for you. So I can get a new Mystic code. I'm not going to unlock all the statesmen, not yet. Would not be bad to get Bunyan, but... Same thing with Prison Tower. Actually, I don't think either has like an event duration. You're still fine, but... Interesting. An Abyssal Seraph, Cyber Paradise Seraph. Damn. So I literally have to do both here in that regard first. And then Tunguska. Yeah, Tunguska's just do the primary thing. So Mirror of 8 Leaves is not bad. It's a very useful command code at certain times. Godbinding Chain is not bad. First Servant can be okay. Fragment 2004. I mean, I could buy just a single copy of Sweet Crystal, but... Outbreak? I already bought Outbreak. That was basically what my first, like, 3 rare prisms were. Annie Blonde. Still the only guts mystic code. Yeah, see. 2019 Chaldea Boys is basically do I have any invuln Piercy? I do, because I got very lucky with initial rolls on a banner. Honestly, that one, the New Year's one's not bad either. I think this is really just going to come down to need, and I think I sit on it because I don't technically need any of them right now. It is smarter for me to do so. Now the next question is if I'm gonna level skills on one of the pretenders, which one do I do? So Proto Merlin's already 20% charge. Oberon's first skill is already 20% charge. Let me look at something real fast. So Oberon is seeds, then stingers. Oh no, then spirit roots, dude, please. Lady Avalon is feathers, then Lanugos, then spirit roots. So still kind of ass, but ironically enough, Lady Avalon's actually the more Hannibal one. I think the most value in Lady Avalon's case is her arts up. And I think the most value in Oberon's case is his 50% charge. And the reason why is because it is not 50% base. It is 30%. So the faster I advance Oberon's 50% charge, the more I go to having a 70% unit, which is one of the biggest aspects of Oberon. Don't get me wrong, these two skills are Oberon's damage output. So, like, you get a whole lot out of them too. But I actually think that's probably the way to go. I'm just going to have to struggle bus it. All right, have enough stingers for that. That's going to be the spirit roots are my problem. Hold on. Ace? Ace hates spirit roots. Why is this not loading? Is my internet like shitting the bed again? I gotta get a new router, chat. That is on my to-do list. There we go. Goddamn, Camelot has the next best node. So I already technically have access to this. So I can farm more spirit roots if I had to. I really wouldn't want to because holy shit, that is not a good return. This is the problem, chat. If you try to farm any sort of like gold material, like look at this. Obviously, you had the bleached earth node for dragon reverse scales, making it 35 AP. But if not, your next best is 164. And if you look down the list, this is a pretty common thing. It is usually taking 100 plus, depending on the gold mat. So that is not good. Lanugo's also not terribly good. So I'm going to have to just deal with it. Chat, Cad likes country music now? What do you mean? I've always liked country music. Also, this one's kind of a timeless classic. It's definitely country, but like, God, do you know how many times I've heard this played at like dances and stuff when I was younger? So it just is what it is. Yeah, I think I use it. So we at least got him to rank 4. Which means that his skill went from 30 to 36% charge. And that's helpful because there may be times where like I am just shy and like not able to get it. Ideally, I'd like to get it to rank 6 because that will enable 40%. So that'd be another nice breakpoint. Oh, I also need to look because of this. I don't think there's anybody that I can really do the appends on, but yeah, I need to actually get more Rash coins. I have not rolled enough FP to get a Rash coins specifically for him. So because of that, I can't even unlock his append. And unlocking his append, I have a 60% C on this account. So unlocking it would at least get me 10% more charge with the 60% plus his 30% charge. That would finally be enough. Most of my gold mats happen to come from going ham on lotto nodes with that one Da Vinci summer. Most of my gold materials I will expect will come from events. Now this, chat, this is not my playlist. Somebody in chat requested this one. So you only have yourself to blame for not filling the song queue. Okay. Let's spend the rest of my AP in the Wandjina event. And then I will probably pop an apple here. And we will start Babylonia. Because why not? Best time to farm gold mats is in events? Yes. It usually is the case. Like, you don't want to just sit down and farm a gold mat if you don't have to. But The problem with it is it requires patience, it requires prep, it requires like you to just sit there and say, I'm not going to level this unit's skills yet. And a lot of people don't like that. That is why, like, usually you will hear people say, like, oh, I don't like the way the farming works in FGO. The material drops are so ass. It's usually because people are just impatient. That really is all it boils down to. If you just sit on a node, you will get drops and you will eventually get what you need. People just don't want to do that. People don't want to actually like sit there day after day. And I understand it, but it is what it is. It's the way the game's designed. And at least for me, for a long period of time, I've not really had issues with it. I always like gold skill gems. Gold skill gems are best gotten through a lotto. They used to be way more commonly appearing in events, and nowadays they very rarely do. It just is what it is. So, like, for instance here, I can pop this, right? And now, technically, I could get the job done just with waivers charge. So, stuff like this is going to matter. It may not seem like it does. It may be like, oh, but you didn't get to a nice even number on the charge skill. But trust me when I say that, like, this thing actually does make a difference in, like, stupid little scenarios that you wouldn't think it would. I feel like free quest they should add auto battle. That's a contentious topic in the community, but I guess like to an extent I understand why people want it. It's never really bothered me not having like auto battle in this game. But I'm also somebody that like I've played like JRPGs and stuff for years. I do feel like the modern average gamer can't handle that. Like the attention span of people is just like abysmally low. And so when it comes to actually like being able to focus on something for that amount of time, they can't. So it's like, I understand why people want it. I don't really think the game needs it. I think the only argument probably in favor of it for this game usually is going to come from like things like, oh, well, yeah, but CAD, the lottos. And it's like, you're not wrong. We do have to grind a lot in the lottos if we want to get ahead. That being said, there is nothing that forces us to. And at the end of the day, I don't really feel like it's like that big of a deal, but I'm also somebody that has been doing it for years. So. Oh, I do some grinding, but I can't because I need to focus on work. I get that. Happens to me all the time. But, I feel like that is just the nature of the beast, so to speak. Actually, I didn't need waivers charge skill there at all. So that would be one other way to save is like, oh, because I've leveled the skill, now I don't actually need to what's the word I'm looking for? Like even use one of waiver skills. If they had auto battle, it would kill the game unless they fill the time with something else. FGO is 95% farming. No, that's incorrect. FGO is 99% farming. And the only reason why I'm being pedantic with that and like making such a distinction is because it is the truth. And because I do think that is something that people don't understand. Like, for instance, the game's content is the farm. So if you were to take away the farm, what would actually occupy people's time? What would actually make them play the game? Well, you could say like challenge content could, but the game gets one challenge node every event, and like beyond that, we maybe get like the occasional campaign here and there that has something. So challenge content really wouldn't make you. Honestly, then you can say story battles. And then you look at like how often we get story, and that's also not really a thing. So like on the day-to-day basis of playing the game, if you had auto battle, you would not play. What do I mean? You would log in, you would sit on the same node you've been sitting on, you would send it, and then like 5 minutes later, you would just basically be done. And you would sit there and you would go, okay, but I didn't have to pay attention to it. I didn't have to do anything really. And then you would just go like, all right, now on to the next Gacha game. Okay? And I do think that would be the logical conclusion. I think while there are people that are like for instance, like JC, that were sitting there saying like, hey, you know, like I could use this like while I'm at work and stuff. True. I do think there's stuff like that like it could be a benefit for. I think sadly the reality is that the majority of people would use it as a means to an end to simply just not play the game anymore. I think it would, on one hand, lose players, and on the other hand, you might actually gain some players back. But I think it would be a net negative, not a net positive in that regard. Now, if I were to compare this to another Gacha game, I'll use Girls Frontline 2 as it is my most recent other Gacha game played. In Girls Frontline 2, you have auto battle. And you can auto battle technically anything. You can always turn on the AI and let it do it for you. The thing is, the auto battle is not good at fighting bosses. So I think it'd probably be about the same way as it would be if you tried to implement it in FGO. The difference is, how often do you fight a quote-unquote boss in FGO? And so this just actually comes down to a fundamental game design difference. FGO, as we mentioned, is 99% farming. You really don't fight bosses too often. That is to say, things with complex mechanics, break bars, you name it. Okay? If you go to something like Girls Frontline 2, you fight probably, let's see, just doing daily content. You probably fight on order about like, you have like at least 3 PvP battles a day. You have raids that you need to do every week. And they're not like FGO raids, really. Like, it's a big boss with complex mechanics that you can't kill in one turn. Sorry, I'm struggling to remember here. But, like, you basically end up with a lot of, like, daily content and weekly content that is not just farming. So the reason that auto battle works in a game like that is because, I'm going to be frankly honest with you guys, you don't need farming content in those other games. What do I mean? So if you imagine the concept of like a free quest, something that you spend your energy, your AP down on, those other games, they only have that just to waste your time. And the reason why is because they have PvP, they have raids, they have all these other tchotchke things to do, like guild stuff and everything else. They have like weekly challenges and other things that they're putting in you. And that doesn't necessarily sound like a bad thing if you like that sort of stuff. However, the difference in design is such that they're putting all of that in to keep you around. Why? Well, because the normal farming nodes for them are just auto battle simulators. That's it. People just send their stuff in and they're done. So what keeps you playing the game? What actually keeps you in their ecosystem long enough for you to care, long enough for you to become invested in the game, long enough for you to desire new units? It's all of those other tchotchke things that they do. So they themselves know that because they gave you auto battle, they have to give you things that you can't auto battle on a regular basis to keep you in the ecosystem. That's why they design it that way. So a game that has given you auto battle has instead decided to occupy your time with other things. Now, you might like those other things, but like I said, it is just simply a design difference between the two. Versus FGO, if we look at it, FGO is actually pretty much no frills in that regard. It does not waste your time the vast majority of the time. Get in, do the farming quest, you're done. And it is what it is. It usually does not try to do tchotchke little things to keep you playing longer. The exception to this rule is obviously story, and that is what it is. But once story is done, you don't touch it anymore. So I think that's why they don't see the value in adding an auto battle, because they just know, like, well, if we added auto battle, you'd just be done with FGO in 5 minutes. Whereas usually if you go to the other games, you might be done with your dailies in 5 minutes, but then you have various other things that you have to do on a regular basis that end up occupying your time. And to be fair, at least for me personally, I prefer FGO's stance of valuing the player's time versus other Gacha's stance of wasting the player's time as much as humanly possible. And the reason why for me is because, again, I value my time. I don't want to necessarily have to spend it doing all these other tchotchke things on a daily basis. Other gachas do. So to me, in FGO's case, I play the game, and that's why I like it. In these other gachas' case, I am usually doing, and this is unfortunate, but this is my honest to God perception of most others, is basically that I am managing the game. I am in a management simulator. So it's the equivalent of, if you're familiar with Blitzball in X or X2, Blitzball in Final Fantasy X is an active game. Blitzball in Final Fantasy X-2 is a management simulator. You just manage the team, you don't actually play the game. I hate that style. That's a personal preference, but I don't like a game that I like am kind of hands off with, and I just spend all of my time in the menu shuffling things around and completing various things. I would instead prefer to just actively play the game in its nodes. So it is what it is. And to a degree, you could say this similarly with like, I think there's like soccer games as well, where it's like, oh, you could actually play the game. Or there's another game where it's like, oh, instead you're just managing the football club or the soccer club in that regard. So it's a similar deal. It's just different styles. If you like style A in terms of FGO, you're fine. If you like style B, you're fine. But some players prefer one, some players prefer the other. The only thing that I can say is expecting FGO to become a different style will probably not happen. I think auto battle is the same with the blue apple situation. It is. And blue apples were a problem. I think the devs would be the first people to tell you that if you ask them. The devs will just outright admit that they probably should have done blue apples differently. Because blue apples caused people to not play FGO. That sounds insane, but we can pretty much prove it. We can go look at general player enthusiasm after Blue Apples came out, and it definitely went down. Okay? So we know for a fact that several people just logged in, created Blue Apples, never actually played. The FGO devs saw this, went, shit, what do we do? And that is now why you have storm pods. And then they went, storm pods are also a bad idea. Everyone hates this because now we're shackling them to the game in a similar method to how some other games do it. And I think that's why you've seen so many changes to storm pods over the years now. They've ruined Blitzball too. Like I said, some people prefer that style. Some people prefer the management style where they're just hands off and they can like simulate it for them. For me, I prefer hands on. I like that. I find it more fulfilling. I actually think free quests waste your time more than help it, and usually the drops aren't good, so it just feels worse. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I'd at least like for mats to have a bit higher drop rate in FGO, but I don't really need to farm mats anymore in that node. That doesn't guarantee drops. Yeah, I think that like with the bleached earth nodes, you have pretty insane drop rates, and it's kind of a non-issue for certain materials. But then there's other materials that it is. I could definitely agree that I feel like, for instance, gold mats are not well handled in this game. I feel like gold mats probably should have at least a slightly higher drop rate in normal free quests, but it is what it is. I also just like time-gated event story free nodes. So that is one of the other mechanisms that FGO does to keep you playing it. FGO doesn't waste your time, but FGO will stop you from just blitzing it and moving on to the next thing. And I don't blame them for that. That's just kind of smart on their end. So you still spend the same amount of time either way, but they're gating you so that you can't just get it done. Bleached Earth feels like a rectifying some drop rate issues, but it's poorly handled. I think Bleached Earth has some issues with it. I won't deny that. I hope we eventually get Bleached Earth quests or similar for every gold mat. I think Bleached Earth is going to be weird in the future because, like, potentially as story moves on, how does Bleached Earth get handled, right? Like in Furry Nights, the Apple equivalent expires every 2 weeks, so you have to use them on a weekly basis. Right. And so it's like, for instance, blue apples are kind of a misstep on the devs' part. Not that like having a way to preserve AP on a day where you can't really play the game is a bad idea. That's a fantastic idea. It's that they didn't really put any limitations on it. Like there is a limitation, but the limitation is so far in the distance that like most players don't consider it to be a limitation. I remember a YouTuber who said that FGO material farming is the equivalent to artifact farming in MiHoYo games. In the sense that like it is our end game, yes, but equivalent in terms of like RNG, no, not even close. FGO's material farming is far better than any sort of RNG artifact farming. Because again, once you get it, you're done. And that unit is done. And you don't have to do it again. As opposed to, oh, now there's a new meta set. Farm it out. which can happen at any time on any update. But AK is an auto battler. Yeah. It's some sort of weekly round robin farming quest where every week the enemies change along with the mats. What if I told you that exists, but it's not weekly, it's daily? And you need look no further than right here. It is what it is. I mean, it focuses on materials. This does. But what materials do you need? Relic Farm is a nightmare. Yeah, I mean, I've done my fair share of farming in like Genshin and stuff back in the day. I definitely did not like the way it was handled. For me, it felt like they were preying upon the pursuit of perfection. Okay, and if you're going to do that, basically the idea is that players keep trying to achieve perfection. Naturally, 99% of your player base will not and will not try to. They will eventually give up and say, good enough. So the idea behind this is that they hope that they achieve at least a rate that they mess with behind the scenes to kind of keep you farming for what they consider to be an optimal amount of time. And that optimal amount of time is several hours usually. And their goal is, again, it's just, I'm trying to keep you in the ecosystem. I'm trying to keep you playing the game, because the longer you play the game, the more you think about the game. The more you think about the game, the more you think about rolling in the game. And the more you think about rolling, the more I'm going to make money off of you. You might be free to play. It might not happen in your case, but your friend is a whale, and it happens in his case. That's really all they're after. They're just up after keeping population density high, and they're up after getting people to spend money. That is ultimately their end goal, and usually in a lot of other gacha games, that is the only consideration. That is all that drives them. Trust me, how you to take the Grail system, butcher it to hell and back, and make it Leviathan tier. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that MiHoYo's done anything like that yet. Would they? Probably. I mean, like, people give FGO shit because of USOs, but I think you would probably end up with similar equivalents with other games if they tried to do something like that. FGO's 100% rolls, lol, disagree. Wait, why did that... I don't know why that got censored, but whatever. He gets my money with the dangling chance of Abby and GSR. Hey, go for it. They recently added the ability to Grail, but you have to use USOs to do it in Genshin. Of course they did. Look, I'm not going to say the serving coin system's good, but it's better than that. That's just cancerous. You need to roll units beyond max copies. Yeah, I'm sorry. Look, chat, I will put aside my differences with MiHoYo, and I will just become an equal opportunity shit talker right now. I don't care what game this is. This can be Genshin Impact. This can be Honkai Star Rail. This can be Arc Knights. This can be FGO. Okay? I don't care. If you decide to, down the stretch, change your gacha system to try to get more out of people, you are the scum of the earth. You're absolutely predatory, and you know what you're doing. Okay? This applies to the FGO coin system. This applies to that stupid Grail system that you guys just talked about for MiHoYo. I don't care. Okay? What was it? Like Epic 7 back in the day had like Moonlight rolls and stuff like that? No, fuck that. All of that shit is just for one singular purpose. It is this, and it is because somehow this is not enough, so they need this plus this. It's just greed. That's all it is. And chat, if you fall for it, it's on you. That's all I can say. These games are already super greedy just by trying to get your money to spend for a character. Expanding upon it after the fact is just, but what if we could do more? That's their only line of reasoning or thinking there. I really can't stomach any gacha that tries to have more than one gacha system. It is what it is. But that's why I say that. It's because like they're all guilty of it, and it's so tiresome. Like we fought the coin system in FGO for years, and honestly, on JP now, coins are functionally dead. You don't have to care about coins nearly as much now. But we never should have had to fight it for years. The system should have just been implemented the way it is now. And frankly, let me just go ahead and stop right there. No. Even now, there's still one scummy aspect to the system. Regardless of all the ways that they have given you to get coins and all the things you can do with shifting your pens around and stuff like that, the scummy thing is that if you want perfection, you still need a sixth copy of an SSR that has no gameplay value. There is no other explanation for that other than some CEO wanted a second fucking yacht. That's it. That's the only reason. And it is scummy. And it should not be a thing. End of story. Period. I'm happy that they've made the changes that make the system better. But that still shouldn't be a thing. It was wrong on day one. It is wrong today. Do you need to pull for the event's bonus C? So, like... Sorry, real quick. Are you talking about this craft essence? No. This one's in the shop. So you can get this one. If you're talking about Cs that affect drop rates, sorry, hold on. Just 1 second. Thing's taking a second to load here. So if you're talking about these and they're like the 3-star, 4-star, and 5-star C for the event, that actually do affect event currency drops, yes, those you would have to gacha for potentially. You will get 1 3-star CE for free, but beyond that, you would have to gacha if you want more. The thing is, you do not have to do this. You do not have to roll for CEs to complete the shop on Nat AP, assuming you are spending efficiently. This Genshin system exists only for 5 stars, 4 stars, or SOL, so pretty much the coin system from FGO. Actually, let me go ahead and buy one of these Cs. You could your friend point your gacha to more copies of the 3-star. You can. It's not super worth it to do that unless you just have like so much FP sitting around that you just don't care. More like Grail's plus coin system 1. True. Yeah. I do appreciate the half AP Bleached Earth quest during events. Yep, it's definitely nice. And JP eventually has it where you just have a toggle like you do with the teapots. So you just turn it on and you can choose to spin storm pods on any node. So that is much, 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 much nicer. Okay, chat. Let us begin Babylonia. I didn't mean to hit chat with that dose of nostalgia right there. Must Grailcast? Yeah, Grailcasting is a thing. I actually need to do mine for the month, so thank you for reminding me. At least on the main account. This account can't Grailcast yet. Alright, so we will continue on. Now, Babylonia is very much in the same vein as Camelot. If you're somebody that struggled with Camelot, you will probably also struggle with Babylonia. To a degree, there are, as we refer to it as like cock block fights in Camelot that are designed to kind of make you improve your account. If you manage to get through them without any real trouble, or you manage to get through them at least without like, how should I put it? Without some sort of like issue per se, you might be fine. But if you got through it and you used like command seals, or you got through it and you used quartz or something like that to revive, that's your sign you need to do something about your account. You need to level up. Don't just keep plowing ahead forward. It is not good for your account. You will probably end up in more scenarios like that where you have to keep utilizing things. So like quartz or command seals. So that's usually why we tell people, it's like, hey, make sure you kind of do your due diligence there and you don't necessarily just throw all caution to the wind. Yeah. Reaching the point of the first class score that I'm starting to be blocked on resources other than sand. Yeah, my JP's kind of like that to an extent. It has enough to do stuff, but I don't immediately advance class score because I get a little bit worried about running out of materials. And that's like, once you get a lead on materials, FGO gets as a game a lot easier. So a lot of the times you get to a point where you just say like, well, obviously there's people I need to spend the materials on, or there's things I need them for, but they're not like imperative. And so because of that, you just go like, well, I don't have to do it right now. I'll wait until the game makes me. And when you get to that point, you're in a much better spot. And that way you can kind of start accumulating things and not having to worry as much about like, oh, do I actually have the firepower to do this? St. Courts to revive, it's a thing. I don't advise it. Don't spend your hard-earned gacha currency on reviving, and that's why, again, I'm going to tell you, it's like you need to be a little bit careful, and you need to say, okay, it's probably a good idea for me to stop and work on my account. Go do some Ember gathering, go do some training grounds, go sit on some free quests that have the material that I need. Those are usually what you want to do in place of just continuing to plow forward if your account can't handle it. Now, for the majority of some of this stuff, it really shouldn't be too hard, but just let that be a lesson. Let those words sink in, because it may not apply to you here. It may apply to you somewhere else down the line. But that's the idea, is that, like, don't just keep forcing it if you realize that you can't actually, like, do it because you don't have the firepower. It's just a 2 out of 2 node with some Uridimus, which basically are the sort of prototype of the creature that drops the Lanugos, which are one of the new mats for this. When did JP get the FP gacha? I believe it was their 9th anniversary for the 100 spin, I assume you're referring to. And oh my, never mind, I'm happy. These enemies drop seeds. Give me more. Damns to 2 lottos from now. Well, Korea did just get an early quality of life package. They usually get 1 a year, and they got theirs, and it did include the 100 spin. So I wouldn't be terribly surprised if, like, the 100 spin is upcoming for NA as well. Could happen at New Year's, could happen at Thanksgiving, could happen at the 3,000 days celebration, which is next week. So it's anyone's guess as to, like, kind of what could happen, but I'm going to tell you, like, don't expect it, but it could be right around the corner. We just don't know. On JP, it was or it was New Year's. Maybe it was then. Which in that case, that would mean we only have to wait a maximum of 6 months. So. I used 2 St. Courts revives in Camelot because I was trying to get the time limited 30 St. Courts for finishing Babylonia before Sullivan started. Yeah, and I mean, like, there's definitely some logic to that of just being like, hey, I'm gonna do it either way, so why not? But I don't really advise that. Okay, so we're actually gonna pre and postcard the Arashin P, and we're doing that so that Ibuki's cards will actually stagger. So now the one enemy only has 10k. Arash will kill that one, but he's probably not gonna kill, there you go, the 36k one. So now her cards stagger, and we still basically got through the wave in 1 turn. Okay, now we got 47k. Should be able to loop this, though, pretty easily. And that should leave me at least 50% charge on Ibuki, 40% charge on Waver, and still 20% charge on Proto Merlin. So I have over 100% charge here should I need the refund. So the only question was, did I kill there? And, well, yeah. Using this player's level 100 and P2 Ibuki Doji at least is significant. You can see the health values, at least right here off the rip, are not, like, the worst. There's definitely, like, definitely worse health values that we've already faced, including, like, pretty much up to 700k. So if you've gotten through Camelot, you're probably fine for at least the early parts of Babylonia. However, we will be encountering more gimmick fights like we had in Camelot. And some of these gimmick fights are kind of nasty, so it really depends on kind of prior knowledge in that regard and how you adapt to changing circumstances. In fact, I'll be honest with chat. I'm not sure I remember every Babylonia gimmick off the top of my head, so I may have to ask chat on a couple of them. Babylonia just not prepared for like year 5 servants, pretty much. Just writers again. However, we've been facing writers, so I assume it's the same enemies, so we'll just keep taking her, and we'll just keep trying to loop through. They show off Mash's booty a lot in anime. Pretty much. The HP totals alone used to be a boss in some of the early singularities. Now they're just kind of mobs. Yeah, it's funny because I've told people before, like, oh, you know, you actually have like enemies that have like 700, 800k and stuff in part 1, and people don't believe you when you tell them that. Like, people just don't remember it. So it's kind of funny. So this is right on the cusp of what Arash is capable of. I will hit the 24k enemy, and then I will add Ibuki's card on the back end. So we'll definitely kill the left one. Hopefully Arash is still strong enough to kill both the right two as well. Or at least one of the right two. You can get different damage variants in your rolls on multiple enemies. So, like, even with them at the same health value, it's certainly possible to not kill one and kill the other. There you go. Arash dies, rotates the party. And we go for the loop. Still no animation update for Leo so far. It's been 5 years. Yeah, it's a real shame. They definitely should, which I am at least happy that they have kind of come out and said, like, hey, moving forward, we're going to make sure that we do animation updates for quote unquote everyone. I assume they don't mean everyone. I assume they mean like older units, but yeah, that's good to hear. Like, that was something I feel like that just kind of brought a lot of animosity on them from the community because they stopped doing them and people began to point out how they weren't doing them anymore. And I think a lot of the stuff is just like behind the scenes. The animation department was one of the worst staffed ones. Not that the people working there were bad, they just didn't have the manpower. And that is something that I think, especially for like a modern gacha game, you have got to have a good animation department. You have got to make sure it is robust, because I think there was a lot of content delays in part due to the animation department. So I think that's their way of saying that they're either expecting a lesser load or that they have hired more people and they can now handle more of a load. So it's a good sign probably either way for at least the animation side of things. Per enemy and AoE NPs, good to know. Yes. Down to the JP Summer event forcing you to do a Leonidas solo just to remind you his animations are still ancient. Yeah, in that regard, they probably shouldn't have done that, right? Like, not exactly the smartest thing to call attention to the fact that a unit is in need of an animation update. But yeah, I think in general, it's a good idea to give older units some of the limelight, give them some time in the sun, because I think that's like, down the stretch, it's one of the issues that FGO has had, is that like it does not give some of its most iconic characters, some of its like characters that made the game popular, made it pop off. It is really not given some of them the light of day since their original like popular occurrence. And I think that's a problem. I don't think that's a good thing. So it's like, I for one am all for them kind of revisiting some of the original cast. In fact, in that regard, I almost wish they would slow down on the number of unit releases, but I doubt they would ever do that. because unit releases are money. They would ultimately drive the game. But we'll see. Maybe stuff like that will change as we get done with part 2 of the story. So I think stuff like that is all like up in the air right now. We'll just have to wait and see how the devs handle things. I just am of the opinion that I hope they don't just like make really bad decisions and tank the game. I love playing FGO. I have a blast with it. It's still a fun game to me, even after all these years. So I just want to see them take care of it. I don't want them to like be like, oh yeah, okay, well, we've hit 10 years now. We're good. Fuck it. 288k. You're getting a little bit more spicy health here. I think I'll go ahead and go with the Lady Avalon MP because we're probably going to need the health. Dragons usually do AoE attacks, so they kind of slam with all their stuff. Plus, they can do an AoE crit as well. Some of them occasionally have like an actual breath attack on one focused enemy, but usually this is the case, is that they do AoE most of the time. So having some amount of healing or party-wide protection is a good idea if you're going to be facing them and you can't just one-shot them. In this case, though, I think I did. Well, close enough. So at that point, we got the job done, but hey, it is what it is. And there you go. Rash just hit Bond 6. So this is actually an interesting thing. Usually if you bond a character up after their 5th bond level, you will start to get quartz, as well as servant coins for them. In Arash's case, he's a low star unit. Basically, a 2 or 1 star unit will, instead of getting quartz, get things like golden fruit. So you'll basically get an apple for bonding them up. It's not as valuable. This is definitely one of the concerns. But you will eventually get quartz for bonding them. It's just not going to be as much as certain other ones. So basically, the amount of quartz you get in that regard actually kind of goes up with rarity. There we go. We got a dragon reverse scale. Dragon reverse scales do not drop very often, so getting one of those is definitely nice. I'm happy writer Anne and Mary got such a good animation update. I actually need to go back and look at it because I haven't spent too much time looking at a lot of the animation updates they did for Anniversary because there was so much other stuff going on. And we got more stingers. That's definitely nice. This is actually the singularity where you will get stingers. So I can expect that I will start being able to not only farm them once I'm done with it, but also just in general get a whole lot more. So that'll definitely be nice. And you will notice, like, we do have guest servants still that can still give you the 200 FP. Feel free to use them. For me personally, if I were to use them, it would start making some of these nodes take almost a prohibitive amount of time. So I'm choosing not to. Basically just for quality of life in that regard. I do see we have a Lancer here. I think this is my sign to maybe move Arash out of the party. I guess one of the things I could do is I could try kind of sticking Nitocris in here, but we do have Riders, and so Nitocris not necessarily going to do the most damage against Riders, so I'll probably just backline another unit kind of to work on Bond, see what I can do in that regard. And usually my backline choices are just units that I feel the need to bond. Sometimes party cost becomes an issue. But you can see it's like, oh, NP interludes, skill upgrades. These things are really nice to unlock, not just because they will improve the character, but also because they will potentially have quartz rewards for doing them. And you will also occasionally have like guaranteed drops that exist in them. For instance, like, let's say if you were to do like Da Vinci's interlude, you might get like 5 guaranteed pages. And I'm not saying this as a fact, I'm just kind of throwing out a possibility. So there is that idea that you should try to level up all of your units at least and unlock their strengthenings and interludes so that you can kind of get the most bang for your buck. Doesn't mean you have to skill them up, but at least like getting them leveled up, probably again a good idea. Long term. Short term, focus on key units for your account. Try to make sure that again, your account is capable of handling challenges that are thrown at it. But long term, you eventually start going like, okay, I got the core of my account up. Who else do I really want to level? And you kind of start triaging it down the list of like, all right, this is a unit I really like. I'm going to focus on them. When you get to certain boss fights in Babylonia, the NPC Merlin becomes a hard carry. Pretty much. And he's actually kind of better than the original Merlin, which is one of the theories is that Merlin supposedly got nerfed prior to release. But we never really got a concrete answer on that one. So just enough to do the loop. I was actually kind of worried that I wouldn't have enough, but we got the job done there. Just like in real life, before going for waifus, make sure you have a solid foundation first. Yes, good idea. Work on yourself first. It's actually one of the things that she has been really appreciative is like me being open, me being somebody that can take care of themselves, and me kind of like she actually just thanked me earlier today for like continuing to plan the dates for her, because she basically is somebody that has to do a lot of planning on her and naturally anyways. And as a guy, that's something that's just kind of normally expected of us anyways when we date, but like it is at least like nice to hear that she's appreciating it and not like taking it for granted. But yeah, in general, in FGO, you definitely need to make sure that you have a well-rounded account over time. The game highly incentivizes it. I do see people that they maybe like play with like 10 key units and then they don't really ever develop anyone else, and that usually comes back to bite them in the butt. And most of the people that I know that play that way don't play very long, unfortunately. So not the best of circumstances. Actually, just for RNG's sake here, why don't we go with a different unit instead of Ibuki? Actually go with Aikide's Muramasa here. He is got a 50% charge C, and he is a 50% charging unit. Just take her to Arby's drive-thru and eat on the parking lot. I mean, she probably would be okay with that, but like, I don't think I would do that to her. I don't know that I would want to do that. All right, thankfully this is just a 1 out of 2, so really refund concerns here, probably not a big deal. As long as it's not Panda Express. I like Panda Express. Kind of. I don't think it's like the best like American Chinese food I've ever had. It certainly is not. But like, I guess it's a quick option for me at lunch sometimes, so that's why I end up eating it. But if someone doesn't like it, I can respect it. And here we go. We are only in section 2 of Babylonia, and you're pretty much already matching the amount of health that we had at the end of Camelot. So this is what I said. If you're not prepared, maybe go work on your account a little bit more, because these sorts of situations do happen. It's something you have to be careful of. So I'm only at 77%. I do not have enough charge right here specifically. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to slap that potential drain on Enkidu and actually go for her NP. And that'll give us just enough charge to get kind of what we need to do. And I'll actually go into a Brave Chain to see if I can loop her back and get her another one. But yeah, this is definitely something to look forward to. His health values, gimmicks, they're only going to get stronger over time into the future of the story. And later on, we'll start having break bars become a constant thing in boss fights. At least for part 1, they are not. They were not implemented at that time of the game, so you don't have to worry about them for any part 1 content. Now, one of the sneaky things about Muramasa is that he has 100% crit damage if his skill is leveled up, and we have 200% crit cards for him, so Enkidu will probably die here. We still have our buffs. Not quite a 2-turn on this, but just because we actually didn't have enough refund, ironically enough. So his NP only did a little bit of damage there. But, boom, there you go. So you can see, we're not going to kill Enkidu, but we got Enkidu very close in that regard. From, you know, pretty much 700k all the way down to 100k is not a bad draw there. And you can see Proto Merlin, aka Lady Avalon's, pretty much right back. And boom, here we go. We still have the crit damage active, so... Double crit. Got lucky. And it worked. So we made quick work of Enkidu despite the fact that we were using an AoE Noble Phantasm. The proper way to handle that would have been to take a single target Saber and just nuke Enkidu out of orbit, but... it is what it is. Sometimes, again, when you go in blind, you don't necessarily realize. Like I said, Babylon is kind of the point where I probably should start using a guide properly, but it is what it is. I don't think part 1 is that difficult, and most of the fights I do remember the gimmicks. Seraph was the first event with break bars and Epic of Remnant that introduced them to the story. I was gonna say Seraph wasn't the first instance of it, but it might have been the first event. That I don't remember. So you may be right on that. Right back to the writers. I'm just gonna kind of keep assuming until otherwise. They don't have to remove all your buffs, then instantly fill their NP bar to full BS we constantly run into in part 2. Yeah, one of the more problematic break bar mechanics that you'll run into. So there are break bar mechanics for when you break their break bar. And that's how you're going to get rid of that health bar and move on to the next one. But usually there will be a break bar mechanic that'll be implemented, and it can be any number of different effects. But one of the most like annoying ones for a lot of people is an instant charge, or a buff strip to yourself. So an enemy where you break their bar that just immediately instant charges their NP to full means they're just going to NP that next turn. And it kind of gets annoying because you're sitting there trying to like plan things out, and then you just go like, oh, of course you instant charged. And so it makes a lot of people have to scuff, go back and like, you know, pop a defensive cooldown or something like that. One of the good things new players can do is get some good welfares. Yep. Yeah, and thankfully, at least as of the recording this video, NA is starting to get the evocation festivals. It's really been helping out. We already ourselves got Kuro off the last one, so that was definitely a nice change of pace. It gave me basically the single target archer that I might potentially need in the future. Though, admittedly, having Castoria Berserker has done wonders for me in that regard. And it just crashed. I don't know why that's happening. I feel like that's only been a thing within the last, like, 3 weeks. And it hasn't been happening before that point. So, I don't know if it's, like, a little bit of patch instability or something. But that is interesting. How much RAM is allocated to the emulator? It's basically 6 cores, like 4K, I want to say. Like, it's not maxing the computer out, but it is, it's a lot. Like, it shouldn't be deficient in that regard. Okay, so it's just as if we scuffed, we just resend it. And actually, I'm just going to go ahead and utilize the Proto Merlin and P instead, anyways. JP got Taisui, one of the best casters for anti-assassin work. Taisui is like low-key goated. He just is a very underrated unit by a lot of people, and he has a very strong niche and does very solid damage and has a very good kit. So Taisui is just an excellent unit all around. But he's usually not people's favorite alter ego. So therein lies the problem. So I could go ahead and pop this, and I think I will just for the chance at damage. Now, interestingly enough, I don't have a mighty chain. So we're going to use the old carding method of what you do when you don't have a mighty chain. So I could get a mighty chain out of this, but it's probably better to pre-card the NP with the Buster, do that, and then post-card with that. The difference is basically just me getting 2 Ibuki Doji cards, and unfortunately the first one did not crit, but that's fine. As opposed to having to use Proto Merlin's card, which would have been resistant and not good damage in the slightest. So you can see, pretty much just eked out the amount of damage right there, and that's kind of why I went ahead and went for it. It's because I was not sure that I was going to necessarily one-shot. But there you go, another Dragon Reverse Scale, and it's actually becoming a material I have quite a bit of, which is surprising. That is not normal. I'm sure I will use all of them, though. Dragon Reverse Scales are just one of those materials that they plague just about every account. Dragons equal Earth, Ibuki has no trouble, true. Yeah, Ibuki Berserker does have super effective Earth damage. And because the game just keeps throwing the same enemies at us, I'm going to keep throwing the same enemies. Now, the scary part is that might be in Kidu. So, just in the off chance that it is, let's get rid of Robin Hood. And let's just kind of put a quote-unquote backline carry. This is something I like to do if I feel like there's maybe going to be an issue. So just potentially, and because I haven't been paying attention, because I'm not reading the story, I don't know what's next, I'm not looking at a guide, I just preemptively protect from it. Because we haven't encountered a rider boss really at all. And the only boss we have encountered is a Lancer, so it's entirely possible that it could be a thing, but not looking likely considering our front wave here is the Mushusus. Yeah, these are the guys that actually drop stingers. So having them in here is definitely a good thing for my material needs. Because I do need stingers at least for Oberon, I believe. Same thing with seeds, so getting more seeds definitely helps. I think it'd be the top left listing. Actually, I think you are right. I think it does usually list the boss first, but I think it's like not always, or I guess like maybe the reason I'm second guessing it is because like there's definitely times where there's multiple bosses and it makes you go like, I don't know about that. Go ahead and pop that. Squeeze out a Proto Merlin and P just for some additional charge. Babylonian made me love Medusa Lancer and Ushi Wakamaru. Medusa Lancer's a character I'm pretty neutral on, but Ushi, yeah, Ushi was great in this Singularity. I actually kind of feel bad for her, but not going to go into that for spoiler reasons. Feel like she got the short end of the stick. Same thing here. It's probably just smart just to stagger the cards, but she'll easily kill this. There we go. Ibuki's going to take care of the Chimera, and Babylon is so far going swimmingly. Enkidu is definitely a concern if we encounter him again. But, well, actually, I know we encounter him again. As long as we keep getting stingers and seeds, I am a happy boy. Who should I go for in the Samurai Remnant event? Like roles wise, personally, I do really like the saber from that event. Yamato Takaru, just fantastic AoE arts looping saber, very similar to Muramasa in that regard, but not necessarily a thing. Also, we just had it. This was the game's first 0 AP story node. And you might be thinking, like, what do you mean? I mean, that was a story only node. There was no battle. It was just that little pip that we just went through right there. That had not happened prior to this point. Babylon, it was the first time that they did that. Okay, now we got casters. Casters. That is an intriguing proposition. I don't think it's a boss. I don't think it's a boss. I think we just send it. How is Yui nowadays? She's still fine. People really like her, but I don't hear her much nowadays. I don't have her, so that's definitely like one of the reasons you won't see me using her. But I don't think she's a bad unit by any stretch of the imagination. Technically, Yamato is New Year's. True, but I believe still has the C's for the event, unless I'm misremembering. Now, we are getting pretty close to an archer boss here, so if I see an archer pop up in one of the nodes, I will assume that is what's going on. You can see we're basically battling glorified embers. It's the ember hands here, and they probably will drop experience. Girugamesh. Okay, so there was a caster boss here. We should still be fine. I'm not really worried about him. Gilgamesh caster might be Sky though, so maybe not the best of circumstances for our damage output. I understood that reference, yes. For Yui Shoisetsu, which banner should I go for Yui? She should only have one with the event. Unless I'm misremembering. And there you go. As I said, we did not get good damage output off of that. It's a little bit less than I was expecting overall, but we also didn't really have follow-up cards. So we'll just kind of send this again. There's really nothing else to do in that regard, but we will pre and postcard here. I'm just going to go for the kill. New Year's doesn't have C's. Okay. I thought it did, but interesting. I guess it has its own C's that year. And there we go. Gilgamesh goes down, and we get some nice caster embers, which definitely have a lot of casters in this account, so it's not the worst thing in the world to get. Although, ironically enough, most of them are actually leveled up. But I could, for instance, go get someone like Sieg from the Evocation Festival. He'd be a really good pickup. or someone like Irisveal, who is also kind of a like pseudo support. Okay, so this is an archer, so this is definitely the battle that I'm thinking of, and because of that, you don't have to do what I'm about to do, but I highly advise you to because it's just smart. Use Shisho, aka Scathach, or however you pronounce her name. Basically, she is anti-divine, and she will absolutely rush this boss if you handle things appropriately. Oh, whoops. Wrong category. I'm going to slot an Oberon in here just to kind of be on the safe end in that regard. And I will also slot in my maximum power Mystic Code, but it really shouldn't be a problem. At least not for this specific Lancer. Because my Shisho is a very, very strong one. Scat Hatch, yes. Skahak, Sukasaha, however you want to say her name. Oh no, it's an AoE battle. I forgot about this. Well, didn't matter. She's going to go down. Gonna pop her steroids. I'm gonna end up giving her at least the attack up. And we're gonna let her go to town. And we will actually do a Mighty Chain there. For Oberon cards. Because Oberon as an AoE may be useful here. There you go. Mine easily killed it, but honestly, even probably an NP1 can get pretty darn close to one-shotting, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. But Anti-Divine will go a long way against Ishtar there. I'll card again. There we go. I swear the game knows that it's purposely not hitting her. Wait, I think I have just enough. I do. And I will full send this. Triple quick chain. Good God. Pretty much couldn't ask for a better card output there. At least not on that turn. Now, Shisho's quick card's actually not that terribly strong, especially if she doesn't have her self-steroid up. But it was two 100% like crit cards, and it was a triple quick chain, so just really, really nice output. But you can see her refund there was kind of abysmal. That is the issue that she usually has is with her quick cards. The number of embers that Babylonia dropped was helpful at the time. Yeah, I think they kind of realized that they weren't like handing things out, and it was difficult for players to farm embers back then. So they basically just said, okay, here, have some for free. There you go. Here's another 0 AP pip. So this is not going to have a battle. There's not really going to be anything. It's just pure story. So obviously, if you're somebody that's doing the story alongside this, it's going to take you a little bit longer. In my case, I could skip right through it. The problem with Shisho is getting her NP back again, right? Correct. And they did give her a nice buff to help that out. I do not believe this is Ishtar again. So we're probably fine. However, just to be on the safe side, I have the perfect solution for something like this. And her name is Wife. Two banners with Ushi Gozen and Summer Musashi. Oh, right. You're talking about Yui. It really just depends on who you need. Like, Summer Musashi's really strong, but like Ushi Gozen is not a bad unit either. So like it really is like gonna come down to taste and preference and like what you think your account actually needs in terms of units. Probably a smart idea to just card this out. Earn, thank you for the 50. Appreciate it, my man. How you doing tonight? What you up to? Old days where 5-star embers were hoarded like gold. Yeah. I mean, I kind of knew once 5-star embers came into the game that we were probably in a good spot for that sort of thing. I have just enough, so we'll go ahead and send it. This will be a completed 3-turn loop, just barely. Hey, we Avenger quick, yep. Hey, Deus, thank you for the 45. How are you doing today, bud? What you been up to? It technically was an archer boss. It's just not the same one. So it's a Shadow Servant. Shadow Servants usually will not use their actual Noble Phantasm. They will instead just, if they get to their Noble Phantasm and fire it off, they will just do a like powerful attack against you. But it won't usually be as strong as an actual Noble Phantasm. So usually you don't have to worry about Shadow Servants too much. However, there are a couple of like bait and switch moments where a Shadow Servant will actually do a Noble Phantasm. So you should still respect them. Just be careful, because you never know when it's one of those times. But in this case, I'm not going to care, and this guy's going to die. And there we go. 1.4 million later. Suffering a little from wisdom tooth pain. Ew, did you get your teeth out? Or is it like, are you about to because it's hurting you? Nice, like an AoE Tyra? Yeah, kind of, actually. In terms of Ushi Gozen. She'd be great if they switched the number of hit counts on her Quick and Buster. Yeah, you're not wrong in that regard. It's also a case of like she shows one of the few Lancers that does not have like a like riding buff to her quick card, so it just kind of like makes the performance of it a little wonky, and it just ends up resulting in some weird stuff. So it is what it is. Mixed node. All right, Berserker it is. Thank you, game. When it starts handing me that, like, you don't have to take a Berserker in all the time, but it's just kind of easy for me to deal with it this way, so I don't have to worry about it too much. And you can see some of our Mystic Codes are actually getting to the point that they're kind of like getting up there in level. They may eventually cap out at level 10. I do have 5 Rare Prisms currently. I can unlock a new Mystic Code. Usually that's going to be what you want to spend a lot of your Rare Prisms on. Aside from, like I said, getting that initial Taunt-C, that is also a really, really just solid idea in general. So, kind of, how should I put it? Like, playing to your strengths and trying to get Mystic Codes that work for your account is a smart idea. But what you should always make sure you do is always make sure you're working on things. So, like, don't just sit there constantly using a rank 10 Mystic Code. Try to switch things up. Try to get away with other Mystic codes when the game permits it. That way, you're eventually going to have like all your Mystic codes at level 10 and have all of them unlocked. That is the end goal for, you know, maybe years down the line. We have another shadow servant here, and it is Kyo Lancer come to murder me brutally for not leveling her. So let's show Kyo the what for. And I don't remember if Kyo's Sky. I think Kyo is Earth. So we can probably get away with some stuff, but let's go for just kind of. We could have gone for a Mighty Chain, but I actually went for instead just a kind of Brave Chain here for more refund. You tell me good arts and quick loopers. Musashi Berserker is a pretty decent one, and Ushi's also not a bad quick looper herself. Ibuki is certainly one that a lot of people would consider to be a very good arts looper. In terms of actual raw refund, it is difficult to beat the trio of Squirtoria, Surfmo, who's a writer, and honestly, like John Archer is just really, really solid. But like for damage output, there's better ones, for instance. So like comparing John Archer, better damage than her, but a little bit less refund is going to be someone like Durga. Space Ishtar is also a really hard hitting potential arts looper. I say potential because she can shift her NP type. But really, there's a whole lot of them in the game. And most of your 5 stars are pretty effective at this point in time. I'm not going to say that like they're all like game breaking damage dealers or anything like that, but they're pretty solid. Muramasa's got a really, really nice buff that helped them out. Yamato Takaru is another really decent arts looper. Quick loopers, you have like Cinderiku. I mean, Daiko Kuten, which is a 4-star, is a little bit of a different story, but they are a good quick looper. Honestly, one of the best quick loopers that I like is actually Okitan Saber. So it's her summer form, and she is very, very just like solid loopability and damage output. Charlemagne in a similar capacity to her is also not bad. Yeah, Breedamart's not terrible, and Breedamart has come a long way, but like still feel like the quick AoE Lancers could probably use some love. Honestly, the original Edmond Dante's really decent in terms of refund as a quick looper. And there's several actual quick units and kind of brute force things like Lohi, Doman. So like really just depends on kind of what you're looking for. Yeah, this is probably the smarter play. You can see this is a 1 out of 1 with 7 enemies remaining. We have 2 turns left on our buffs, so there will probably be 1 enemy remaining at the end of this that I will have to manually kill. How far off are we from the John Arts buff? What do you mean? Like OG Jono? Like Ruler Jono? Yeah, Ruler John. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's with Ordeal Call too. Dominus 5-star Nito with chaotic evil damage support. How dare you insult 5-star Nito like that? But yeah, I mean, technically not wrong, at least to an extent, right? And of course, the last enemy was a debate. So I probably should have realized that I was going up against the number of enemies that I was, and I probably should have pre-carded one, then started doing all of my buffing. But it is what it is. Sometimes these situations happen. Good thing about Leonidas is just he doesn't really have an offensive Noble Phantasm. Bad news is he is quite tanky, so he could just beat me to death. Could have taken a triple arch chain there, but I'm just going to take the effective damage because I need to squeeze every drop of damage out of this that I can. Ushigozen versus Summer Musashi. Who should I go for? Ushigozen has charge. Summer Musashi doesn't. Summer Musashi's damage output is kind of insane, but she is a refund-based unit. So if you don't have the proper supports to support her, you might end up in a little bit of trouble. Ushigozen will also still similarly need decent supports, but usually you can get a little bit more effective use out of units that have charge built in. There we go. And Proto Merlin with the kill. Actually, I didn't think the Ibuki card would kill, but it did. Sometimes stuff like that do be happening. And we've leveled up. We're already up to 111. The good news is we're also getting stuff like Proof of the Heroes there, so just doing story gets you a lot of materials. It is nice in that regard. Cat out of coins for Grails. Should I wait for Gouda Gouda or can I roll now? You probably want to roll now. I mean, unless like how much FP do you have? If you only have like, I don't know, like 5 million or something, it may be just better to wait and just say like, hey, it is what it is, because you will eventually run out of FP. It is not a perfectly efficient exchange. And usually what'll keep you ahead is grinding in lottos. An assassin. I'm gonna hedge my bets and I'm gonna go with an AoE. We're gonna go with Ibuki again, but this could really backfire on me. So I will backline yet another unit. Go with Castoria Berserker there. Because I do not remember if this is an actual boss fight or not, and it may be. And Ibuki it out. It's a very strong combination, so. Okay. I'm out of coins for Grails in like 5 months already. It's a shame, but it is what it is. Yeah, and like you guys will all eventually run out and you will need to roll your FP out for it, but your FP will also be finite unless you're doing enough boxes and lottos. That is just an unfortunate thing. If you guys go watch my Grail casting video, I talk all about it. I break down the calculations and why this is a thing. But the reason I say it is because like, so if you know you're gonna run out, for instance, then it makes a little bit of sense to say, okay, I'm gonna run out no matter what I'm gonna do, so why not at least shift the time that I roll then to a better time, and then I'll just Grail cast then. Because it's like basically saying, okay, I'm not gonna be able to Grail cast every time then. So for some players, that will be a thing. For other players, you might be able to grailcast every time. For instance, my JP account has never missed a grail casting. Since it came out, it has grail casted every single month. Just due to really good management and really good grinding in lottos. And that's it. Call of the Underworld. Wonder who this could be. So it was a little bit of an assassin boss, but you can see, like, they're kind of throwing at you these, like, upper 200k health, almost 300k type of, like, mini bosses. They're not particularly, like, crazy, but they are at least, like, hey, you got to do something about it. Ooh, nice crit. Cat, are you guys in a country mood tonight or something? Actually, I think it's just my random song request hitting it some of the times. So one of the reasons I staggered cards there is just so I'd only have to do one card, as opposed to like doing a full Ibuki chain or anything like that. Ooh, ghost lanterns. Hell yeah. You get those from killing ghosts. Most of the materials are self-evident in that regard, but there's definitely a little bit of a learning curve with what drops what. I will try to talk about it every single time I notice it, but some of them may slip by me. So we're already in section 5 here. Babylonia, if memory serves, is a little bit of a longer one. So it's a lot of important story. I highly recommend not skipping it. It does matter. But at least for our purposes, it's just going to be a bunch of fodder nodes for right now. Sorry that I'm asking again and again. So Musashi is a berserker, so she'll be effective against just about everything. Ushi is an avenger, but she does have charge. So charge is usually going to be better for what we like to call oddly structured nodes. So usually level 90 nodes are going to be 333 breakdown, right? Versus 90 plus and 90 plus plus have a tendency to be like 312, 213, 211, 113. Like there's all sorts of different combinations. And that's why charge is really important for them. It's not like guaranteedly gotta have, but yes, in general, that is one of the deficiencies of Summer Musashi is that she might struggle to handle 90 plus plus nodes because she is entirely refund based. There are 2 more months of grail casting with Guda Guda being late November. It's gonna bail you out, so to speak. Yeah, you can get a lot of coins from Guda Guda. And usually I want to say it's about like a little under like 1 million FP a month to do your grail casting for both grails. Usually. Sorry, Proto Merlin. I need those stars more than you. Gotta get those juicy arts crits. But that's why, like, for instance, Musashi will deal more damage than Ibuki. Ibuki, though, has charge, so Ibuki handles weird node structures better. Just for reference. It was one of the worst experiences that I had in this game. How so? We're actually getting close to leveling up the Mystic Code again. Only country I listen to is Grant McDonald. It's nice. She goes as a crit monster when something allows for critting. Yeah, I mean, like, as long as you have, like, Summer Scotty and OG Scotty to buff Ushi, Ushi's definitely, between the two, probably a better pick for 90++. Personally, I'm not going to say either is particularly good for 90++, but that's kind of just me. Whenever we get Violet, what type do you think she'll be? That's a good question. I mean, like, easy money's on stuff like Alter Ego, right? But, like, I don't know. They've been kind of all over the place with that stuff, so we'll see. I don't know what's in the final wave, but I'm just going to go ahead and do this just for the refund. Why wouldn't she be an alter ego is the better question? Right. Whole story is about Kuro assaulting every female servant that was in her viewpoint. So basically, Prismalia. Yeah, sometimes I'm gonna say if you're like not particularly predisposed to like a unit, like I don't know. I can understand skipping like certain like interludes and stuff like that if you don't care. Or you just outright don't like the unit. Like you still do it, you just don't read it, I guess. I start to wonder whether we would get apology Sanquirts from the NA9 debacle. Probably not, right? Because they just kind of, and I think they like did give a little bit at the time, but I don't remember if it was much. I think it was more like just maintenance courts is really all we got. But I don't know. I feel like at least in the interim, they have reasonably fixed the coin system. And I still don't think that the debacle, oh my god, hell yes. That is enough for Oberon's remaining skills. So that's perfect. But basically it's like I feel like it wasn't really on the devs. I think the devs knew what the fix was for the system the entire time. And I think it's whoever made the decisions on monetizing the game that really just fucked us all. And I think in that regard, they certainly got like extra money out of people with the way they designed the coin system. However, I actually think it did more harm than good. I think they lost more money than they gained because I think they lost players over the way the coin system was designed. Go with Aikide again. Watch it be our friendly neighborhood in Kidu. Thank you, going for she goes to MP2. Go for it. They give 120 with the dev letters. Did they? Okay. I was gonna say I thought I remembered them giving some out, but I could not remember how much. And my instinct was, just small amount. Two enemies. This is not going to be good for his refund. Particularly the first interludes were very strange and aged like milk. Oh, not all of them. Some of the early interludes were really nice, but Kuro's. Could it be Jaguar Man? It could be. We could already be a Jaguar Man. Yeah, Muramasa not exactly known for his refund. That is one of his issues. Having 50% charge, he's enough to brute force it most of the time, but this is a really, really bad draw for me. I can basically force the loop, but I'm going to have to use every single instance of charge that I have, and it does not leave me much left in the tank. So hopefully whatever's on the third wave isn't too spicy, or maybe it's something that I can crit. Hope we get Summer Jaguar Man. I'm still upset that all the way back when we had the Year of the Tiger, that they never did anything for Taiga. That was such a whiff. Whoever was like sitting in the planning room before like the year began should have realized that. But yeah, I think like in all seriousness, if the coin system had been designed better from the outset, I think it would have been positive publicity for the game. And instead, the coin system has forever been a negative source of publicity. And I don't think that's a good thing. So, this is spicy, but I'm going to attempt to just crit Jaguar Warrior down. And it's going to work. 100% crit damage, do a heck of a lot of damage. Especially when you're guaranteed to crit. There we go, we got the Mystic Code level up. She's kind of hot in the final ascension. Oh, absolutely. Is more the trust that they lost that was truly bad? Right, but I'm going to say trust and player count goes hand in hand. If you don't trust the developer, you're not really going to play a game. And I feel like they burned a lot of bridges with that. I feel like they deeply upset people. So it is what it is. This might be Jaguar Warrior, might be Enkidu, I don't know. Or it could just be more of the Poison Needle people. So again, just continuing to hedge bets here. Still got Castoria Berserker on the back line. But no, like I feel like there are certain things like that where it's like when FGO is talked about in circles that are external to the game, it doesn't bode well for the game when people can just immediately look to it and say like, yeah, that was crap. Oh, they have this system. That's not a good system. Like, I'll give you guys an example of this. When have you ever heard anybody positively discuss USOs? So every single time the USO system has ever gotten mentioned by anybody ever in the history of mankind, it is always used as a negative for the game. And yet the vast majority of people will never even interact with the system. But it's the fact of the system's existence and the way that it works that just make people point to it and go like, hey, this is bad. Wow, this Muramasa actually just got weight roomed. So so close to being able to win, but sadly just actually cock blocked right there. And unfortunately, I just used the Invincible Pierce, so I actually don't have a way through Jaguar Warrior's dodge here. So this is kind of just a delay and overcome. Is it just 2 hits? Is it? Oh yeah, hers is not turn-based. My brain did not fully check it. Well, then we'll kill her here. And we got it. I am blind, apparently. But yeah, like, so handling coins that way is not a good thing for the game. Like I said, I'm sure they made extra money off of it. They probably made quite a bit, but when you have to consider players quitting out of frustration, when you have to consider new players that hear about it and it turns them off and makes them not want to come in, I don't think like long term that's a net positive for the game. I think it's actually a net negative. I think like long term, like you said, the other sort of intangibles of like, it impacted player trust and things like that. It's like, yeah, I don't think that makes a player want to roll when that stuff happens. So it's like they easily could have just handled it better. Glad you brave chained? Pretty much. Sorry, chat, hold on. So we have a 1-for-1 Spriggan here, and normally this would be kind of nasty. I would not want to tangle too much with this, but I suspect that I can card this out. And we get a lucky crit, and it immediately happens. And I actually technically didn't do the right chain there. I actually should have led with the quick card, gone Arts, and then Buster. And that would have technically been the highest damage. And of course, it's another Spriggan. Why would it not be another Spriggan? God, I love Babylonia. Yeah, at this point, when you see a scenario like this, I kind of just, I gotta send it. I gotta try to do as much damage as possible here. Spriggans should be Earth, though. So Buki's NP here should do some solid work. So we managed the loop, and we just barely have enough refund, although technically I still had both these in the tank. And now we just send it again, and pray to God. Assassin Spriggans, no less. Yeah, Assassin Spriggans you do not want to mess around with them. The idea behind it is Spriggans are already crit fiends when it comes to like stacking crit buffs and hitting you hard. Assassins also just have latently higher crit as a class. for like enemy NPCs. So you really just don't want to like kind of get into a knockdown drag out fight because the Spriggan will win. It will just walk up to you and randomly crit one of your units down. And if you're watching the video and you're like, oh my god, that just happened to me, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that before. Hey, at least we got a spirit root though. Spirit roots are basically what the Spriggans drop. So that is at least a nice consolation prize because spirit roots are kind of an annoying material as a gold mat. And this is 110% Enkidu. How do I know? I just know. I know based off the location of the node and kind of what we just went through. So in that regard, probably going to go with my Okita over here. Let her do some solid work. Actually, yeah, I think I'm still going to just keep this Mystic Code. This Mystic Code's sneaky good for things. Although, you know what? Whatever. I'll switch to the actual attack Mystic Code, get the most firepower I can over, say, crit damage. Let's see if they release Fifth Append without the change in NA. I don't think they will. I think they will give us all of the changes at once for that anniversary because I think they know. Now, your prior maximum health value was bordering on 700k. Welcome to 2 million. I suspect I do not have to kill Enkidu all the way. Sometimes the game will throw something like this at you, and you're like, wait, what? And this is probably one of those times. Probably. Actually, probably shouldn't have used Okita's charge skill there. I think I go with buff stacking a little bit here. But then I go for a little bit of refund on the cards. What does Bride need to be as good as better than Okita? Bride and Okita are very different characters. Yeah, I wouldn't even say they're in the same conversation. Bride is a sort of pseudo support / flexible unit. She can also be a setup unit. Okita is way more of a solo artist and just like raw crit machine. Did it again. That's some thick ass clay, it is. The first fight I didn't have to kill Enkidu either. Oh, really? Oh, well. I got jump scared when I saw this. Yeah, don't panic if you see absurd health values. Usually there's a gimmick to the fight. The gimmick will be, in most cases, either exist for 5 turns without dying. And, like, you can still lose a unit, just, like, don't totally party wipe. Or wait until the enemy gets its Noble Phantasm off. It's usually one of those two. So we're going to go with the maximum charge Mighty Chain here for Proto Merlin. Try to get her to another NP. And she should get there. And of course, Enkidu is still just going ham. So currently it is turn 4. We'll go with the Mighty Chain because it's a guaranteed crit. or percent HP. You can have that, though it is rare. Especially because, like, nowadays, normally instead it's just like break a break bar or something. Okay. So now we're up against Enkidu's NP. Enkidu's NP basically is single target. At least if I remember correctly. I don't know if it'll be changed here, but it is what it is. I'm just gonna go ahead and send it. I don't really care. Take damage, fool. There's some fights that if you lose a specific unit, you lose. Yeah, basically. So like there's a couple different mechanics, but most of them are usually wait 5 turns or wait for the enemy to NP. In this case, it is both turn 5 and the enemy is NPing. So I suspect this is the victory condition, as long as I live. And it's not. So it may be 1 million? I don't know. I'm not actually sure what the victory condition here is. We do have everything for Okita lined up. But I'm probably going to lose Proto Merlin here. I go with a sort of reverse Mighty Chain. There we go. It's 6 turns. Or 1 million HP. I'm not sure. But either way, it worked. It could have also been the requirement was maybe like a turn after the NP. I don't really know. Sometimes they do wonky stuff with that. But generally, again, you can see that was a gimmick fight. The fight ended. We didn't actually defeat the enemy. That happens all the time in story. You'll start to see it happening way more often. And that's usually one of your signs is like you get in and you go like, whoa, this seems near impossible or like really, really hard, abnormally so. That is probably a sign that it may have like an early gimmick to it. Switch back to our Arts Mystic code. Like how Gawain's first fight was. Yep. Yeah, so I guess technically we did already face a fight like that. I had not thought about it. I'm smarter than this. I'm not falling for this bait. Even if I don't kill the gazer, it's better to wait if it's just a bunch of single gazer enemies. So gazers are demonic floating eyes. As I've already mentioned before, they're kind of like this game's version of a beholder. But they also have a drop. But apparently not that one. Usually you can tell if it drops something because it'll actually leave a chest behind. Something you can watch out for. You can also see in the top right corner up here of the screen, there is the little chest icon. You can click on it or touch it with your finger, and it will basically show you whether or not you have any sort of items that have dropped in the node so far. You can actually see it before you complete a node if you're curious. Though usually, I just tell you, go ahead and go to the end of the node because there's nothing you can do to affect the outcome of the drop. I don't know if they're Earth or not. They probably are. You can click that? Yep. I like how I'm teaching chat all sorts of like random small minutia things, but like it's good. It's good that you guys actually get to see this because some of the stuff is so like especially to veteran players, it's such a known quantity that like nobody really talks about it. It's just sort of little tips and tools of the trade, right? Oh, actually, well, whatever. Didn't want to do that, but it is what it is. Take the effective cards. I learn new things all the time here. Like about the attributes beating other attributes. Yes. Like I said, it's something where some players know it and just never talk about it. Other players just don't know it, and so they don't talk about it. Yeah, so literally all we got was QP from that. That's a big bummer. Would have liked some rare drops, but it is what it is. Go. And I think we end it here. So we got all the way to section 7 already. Story should begin to pick up a little bit after this point as well, but we are still kind of in the meat and potatoes of it. So, but yeah, that's going to be it for me tonight, chat. Let me see who all is on. Well, this is ironic. I only see Miss Ivy on, so I'm going to send you guys her way, even though we did just raid her. And again, I will be back tomorrow. Like I said, dating wise, guys, everything's still going good, but there's nothing like she's basically going to be gone for the next week here, so like no interruptions over the next week. Should be fine. And yeah, tomorrow night we have the tomorrow morning, bright and early, we have the live stream for JP unveiling their new event. So make sure you go check out Mr. T Love Trouble for that. And again, we should have another video for you guys on YouTube coming out here soon. Should be a new player oriented one. And I will see you guys for the next one. So go give Miss Ivy my love and have a good one.